Welcome back, guys, to the Overwatch League. Our fourth match of the day is about to begin. It's going to be LA Valiant versus Hangzhou Spark, and I'm really excited. I'm so happy that we get to cast Spark twice in 1 week. I feel like we got lucky. We got lucky here, man.
We did. I hope we'll just get all the rest of the Spark matches because they're such a fun team to watch right now. They ran some really interesting strategies, have been emphasizing heavy DPS compositions, and they've done some really wacky stuff. Sometimes I think they stick with it a little bit too long, but I still love watching it.
Meanwhile, on the LA Valiant side, there's been some changes. Kareev, who kind of bounced a little bit back and forth between support and DPS last year, has now seemed to settle in that DPS role. And this guy can do work.
Yeah, I know a lot of fans here in Los Angeles are going to miss soon.
Look at that accuracy.
But Kareev has been bouncing back between DPS and support his entire career. He did have some starts on Widowmaker for a little bit for this Valiant team. And especially with the addition of Munchkin last season, I think he was already sort of filling that role that Soon had, at least in terms of Tracer play.
Right.
And we'll see how the Valiant are doing without Soon, but I think it's probably they're going to be just fine, not a lot of change.
Meanwhile, on the Hangzhou Spark side, one of the real cool takeaways from their first match is just how many different heroes these guys play. We suspected it coming into it, but look at that, 14 different heroes played in their first match. Actually, not as many as Shanghai and the Hunters, but still up there.
I think the reason why Shanghai and Chengdu are a little bit higher is because they were emphasizing sometimes the solo tank compositions with just the Hammond or the Wrecking Ball as the principal tank, so it gave them a little bit more room to flex their one of their tank players onto some additional DPS heroes.
Fair point. Well, I'm done talking about the pre-match stuff. Let's get into it. Let's introduce our first team. Give it up for the LA Valiant. Stage for the first time in Overwatch League 2019. Team, a lot of success towards the end of last season.
Yeah, and the strength of Valiant has, I think, always been their coaching. Coach Moon sticking with the roster, and he's a really technical coach, a lot of emphasis on the fundamentals of the game and prioritizing teamwork. So we are going to be able to see Izayaki here at the start of this series, and as a little bit of a surprise, guess who's going to be playing support? It's going to be Kuki.
Wow, Kuki, the former tank for the Seoul Dynasty, now on Valiant, shifting his role over to support. We'll talk more about that later. Now it's time to introduce the other team, the Hangzhou Spark.
And I think you better bow down. And all I'm missing is the power. Oh yeah, I got it check. I got respect, and all I'm missing is the power.
Let's hear it for the Hangzhou Spark!
I love this team, Noah.
Me too, man. Style for days.
Style for days. Love the colors, love their play style. Love the strong start to the league. Love their cocky attitude.
Yeah.
What's not to like, really?
Well, nothing is not to like if you want to go the double negative route. Here they come. Flags waving. And IDK, of course, one of the big personalities on this team. Hope we get some interviews with him later in the season.
Yeah, making a big, I think, statement debut, too, in their first match.
Oh, yeah. Taking out the Shanghai Dragons, of course. Doing it in style. Bebe, of course, now taking the field.
Yeah, they did make some changes, switching out Bebe and Revenge in their first map as a little bit, testing out their flex supports, but both players performing relatively well.
That's right, and of course, one of the superstars, their main tank, Kushui, this guy, everyone was excited to see.
We were, and we only saw him on the escort map in their last match. I think a lot of that is because they want no smite, just so they have an all-Korean roster for communication.
All right.
Everybody's hands in the middle.
Why not?
Got confused for a second.
Yeah, okay.
Teamwork.
Yeah, teamwork. Hashtag teamwork. There we go. So Spark taking the field. They've given Valiant more time to warm up, though.
Yeah, and they are actually going to be starting Gushue on control tonight, so still a mix-up from their last performance. We'll see if that's going to change any of their strategies at all. Otherwise, exactly the same lineup that we might expect them to run at this point in time.
You just really don't know what to expect from these guys, though, as far as strategy is concerned. They showed us a lot of different things, and it's not only the willingness to try those different things, but it's the execution that they bring along with it that's been really kind of something special.
Yeah, I wasn't super thrilled with some of their Horizon play in that last match because I think they were really sticking to a strategy that wasn't going to work for far too long.
Sure.
That's something we have to keep an eye on the Spark in this match because even though they have this flexibility, they've shown that maybe they don't utilize it as frequently as they should.
Meanwhile, jumping over to the Valiant side, Space, Kareev, so good to see these guys on stage again. I mean, this is a team that was known for just solid play, right? Everything was just tight. They weren't flashy really so much. They weren't kind of the big playmakers, but they executed so well.
I think as a team, just their coaching staff really likes to minimize risk.
I agree.
And that doesn't necessarily make for the most exciting gameplay, but it does make for consistently high-tier gameplay.
That's right. Our map set brought to you by Toyota. Let's check it out. Start things off on the control map, Busan. Then we're going to Numbani for our hybrid map. Going to be Temple of Anubis for Assault, and Dorado will close things out on Escort unless we need that fifth and final control map.
And Anubis and Dorado, we've seen some wacky compositions already. Certainly something that I think the Hangzhou Spark can exploit. We'll see how freewheeling the Valiant want to be or whether they're going to play it safe with 3-3.
I'm wondering. It's going to be interesting here because at this point, it's like imagine sort of like the tightest sort of like a more controlled fighting, like fencing, I don't know, where it's like all about your little jabs at exactly the right time. Meanwhile, Hangzhou Sparks over here like drunken boxing, right? It's two very different styles.
You don't know what they're going to do. They're like rolling around on the ground, somehow they kick you in the face.
It's fun to watch, man. Here we go. It's going to be starting on Busan Shrine. Hangzhou Spark rolling out, Valiant on the other side. We'll see who takes control first. Valiant rolling out with the 3-3. Both teams, in fact, doing that. Valiant, though, deciding to run Izayaki on the Moira this time.
Yeah, they're going to switch off right now. That they don't see any kind of long-range damage. They're trying to just a death ball on the point with a lot more healing. But they're not going to do that. Instead, once they see the 3-3, which might be a bit of a surprise from the Hangzhou Spark, but they are going to give up the first few percent as a result of that change.
You know what? That's okay. If you're able to retake the point quickly, you can make that up pretty fast. But you got to retake it. That's the thing. And Spark's not going to let it, man. They're getting aggressive already right off the bat, trying to get that damage in onto Fate, onto the Reinhardt. They finally take him down, and Spark picking their targets well. Rhea does get demacked, and there goes Godsby. So Valiant does draw a little bit of blood themselves.
Yeah, it's going to be a reset there. They still have 5 players, but one of them is demacked right now for the Spark. Finally getting that mech back.
Actually, that didn't take too long.
Yeah, it didn't take him too long at all. Was demacked for most of that fight, so able to draw that back up. A couple members still coming back here. Taxi for the Zarya of the Sparks. They have to wait until the Lucio taxis back with the speed boost. Now they can go.
IDK bringing him back. Meanwhile, Gushue has that Earth Shatter, drops it. Doesn't really get a whole lot out of that right now. Now they get caught up in the Graviton surge from Valiant, and Izayaki claims a kill onto Godsby. It's a 6v5. Valiant can try to exploit here as Kareev goes in. Fully charged on that Zarya, but it's Izayaki popping up. We've heard so much about that Zenyatta, and it's Kareev and Izayaki getting all the kills in that fight.
Izayaki, a player who was added to the roster of the Valiant last season, but didn't see any playtime, so his Owl debut today. Let's take a look at him from first person right here, just laying some orbs into the huddled mass of Spark players.
I mean, it makes it a bit easier there too, but to be fair, we've been hearing people sing this guy's praises for a long time, even since last year. And like you mentioned, Monty, we didn't get to see him in 2018, but already showing us some cool stuff on his debut map. Right, going in with the rally is Spark. Izayaki responding with that Transcendence. That gives Fate the opportunity to get aggressive onto Godsby. It's going to be a late sound barrier from IDK as Spark tries to regroup here. They still, well, they gave up the point. Percentage building for Valiant. Spark on the outside looking in. And they have to go back to spawn yet again.
That's a big investment for the Spark as well. Finally, Godsby's going to get a Graviton Surge, but doesn't see an opportunity to use it with the main tank going down so quickly on the Spark. Valiant, otherwise, though, they just had excellent timing on their ultimates, held on, used the trance, and nearly got half of one back again. So Valiant looking as disciplined, as controlled as ever.
True enough. Spark, meanwhile, a lot of ultimates coming online for them. Gushue, one good fire strike away from picking up that Earth Shatter. So they're gonna have some tools coming to this one. It's all on Valiant to put up the solid defense.
Both teams just poking right now, trying to get some Zarya charge up, see what they can accomplish.
Oh, Fate being so aggressive here, runs in. Earth Shatter doesn't get a whole lot. Spark does pop that Transcendence, so meanwhile Fate cut off from the rest of his team around the corner, couldn't get the healing, and now with the Graviton Surge is gonna lead to a lot of kills for Spark. It was a small thing, but Fate just being kind of trapped around the corner there is what gave Spark that win.
Isolating members away from healing is such a crucial part of the 3-3 composition. If you can pull one of those tanks off the front line, you're going to be feeling good. Godsby finally gets to deliver there with the Graviton Surge. Valiant's still coming back with quite a bit, though. They only used the Shatter.
Yeah, Izyaki's going to have the Transcendence in just a moment here, too. So, you know, again, they've got plenty of resources to use.
And this fight's going to be for all the marbles, too, on this map.
Sure is. 94% for Valiant, but Spark nearing 80% themselves. Do or die for both teams here on the first point. It's going to be the rally coming in from Bazy. Spark tries to hold it. Both teams popping that extra armor from the Pegida. Waiting for the angle to try to get aggressive here. Oh, Kareem! He gets his Graviton Surge eaten by Rhea, and now Space returns. Oh, Rhea grabs 3 with the self-destruct! And Izayaki can just float there and cry because that Transcendence does not save you from that Diva ultimate. That's going to be Spark taking the fight, and they will take the first point on Busan.
And that's it, Doa. Those Gravitons so impactful in those fights. One of them doesn't fall. You can't position properly for the self-destruct. Meanwhile, everything working out for the Spark.
Yeah, you can't get those Gravitons gobbled up, man. That's a problem. Let's check it out from Gushui's perspective again here. Manages to get that Shatter, too. Right in time to set up Rhea for the triple kill with the self-destruct. That's what you call a team effort, man.
Didn't even need the grab on the side of the Spark. They just set it up because they were walking forward trying to follow up because they assumed the grab wasn't going to be eaten. That actually set up an angle for the Shatter, meant that the Reinhardt was not going to be able to shield.
True enough, and don't forget to check out the All Access Pass on Twitch. Get to check out those player views. Watch the league the way you want to watch it. Hashtag, that's my slogan.
Well, coming in to downtown here on Busan, and it looks like Hangzhou, they're not going to do anything too out of the ordinary.
We'll see. Spark really getting jumped on. Valiant's been aggressive on a lot of these pushes, and that one paid off. Gushui going down.
Yeah, Fate got actually behind Gushui and carved him off from the rest of the roster.
Kareem with another one after demeching Rhea as well. And if there's one thing we've seen, oh, yeah, you hate to see it. If there's one thing that Valiant has done well, it's been taking these aggressive fights and just kind of steamrolling one tank, you know, and then kind of taking it from there.
Yeah, keep an eye here on Fate. I think that they're intentionally trying just to siphon Gushui out too far in front. Because if you have that opportunity to use the bubble to cut off some of the line of sight for healing, it could be quite useful to take down the Reinhardt quickly.
Right. Bebe taking a shot, but he's going to have time to build up the shields. Ooh, maybe not. Bebe very low. They got to keep their Zen alive. There we go. Bazy going in there. And now Izayaki, his turn to push ahead. Valiant going to be aggressive again on this fight, going in off the back of Agility's rally.
Los Angeles Valiant tried it again right there, but this time Spark were ready, and they actually booped Fate off on his jump in.
Yeah. Being patient, waiting for the armor to kind of start to decrease here before they decide to go in. Kareem running in. He's got so much charge on the Zarya. You can see the damage. Oh boy. Graviton Surge coming in. Gushui does manage to find Kuke. Gets another one. A charge onto Agility. Self-destruct coming up with nothing, but Spark getting a few kills. Now they're caught up in the Graviton Surge. And that's enough for Valiant to hold on to the point.
That time, Doa, they had the Zarya bubble available for Fate on the entrance, and that made the difference because, again, he was able to split up the members of the Hangzhou Spark.
Yeah.
Second time was the charm.
Jumping for joy.
Up to 70% too. So far, blanking the Hangzhou Spark here on downtown.
Yep. All right, Spark 0% so far on this point after winning the first one. Try to turn things around here. Sound barrier used by Valiant as Spark comes in. Fate, though, just getting erased. And now the charge comes in from Gushui, takes Agilities for a ride. And now Spark, it's 6-3, make it 6-2. As they push in onto Valiant pretty hard. Valiant Do you think that sound barrier from Kuki was a bit early there?
Yeah, might have been a bit early, and also they just didn't have a barrier in the front row. I mean, you're walking into a choke point like that against the Earth Shatter.
Right.
Can make it pretty challenging, but now it's going to be a full run back should Hangzhou want to take this map. Valiant, he can play it slow.
Yeah, you can just kind of wait for some ults to build up. The classic control strat, right, where you've got all that percentage. They're 97 right now. They're in no hurry. The worst thing they can do is be frantic at this point.
Yeah, Fate also switching over to the Reinhardt
as
well. So we do have the mirror comps now.
Sure enough, Godsby on the side here. Almost has that Graviton Surge as a rally comes out for Valiant. Spark backing up to the point. They're going to go ahead and use Bebe's Transcendence to just keep Valiant pushed out. Remember, they need a lot of percentage yet. They're just now hitting 40 here. As Valiant comes back in, they want to end this round right here. Oh, the space! He eats Godspeed's Graviton Surge. And what do we say about Grabs getting eaten, man? It's hard to win a fight afterwards. That said, though, Rhea did get one with the self-destruct, but it is going to be Valiant in the end, able to swing this point back in their favorite. That should deliver them the point.
It should, Doa. They had no business winning that after the comp swap. Switching Fate up, investing so much into that last fight, but they do it.
Hey.
A lot of consequential defense matrixes, canceling out Graviton Surges.
Good to say, defense matrix MVP in this one so far. We're all tied up on Busan. One more round to go. We're going to the Mecha base to decide which of these two teams takes the early lead in this series.
Oh, loading highlights.
Oh, nice, I love highlights. Sweet.
Yeah, we can see
F9,
space.
man.
See space right here. He's getting the matrix over his teammates. We'll see where it comes in. Already came in, actually. Just trying to cover his teammates on the approach. He's got, the grab was a bonus.
And Space has been one of the best off tanks out there for a long, long time, so no surprise seeing him make some of the crucial plays that keep Valiant alive in this map. Welcome to Mecha Base. We're only going to see D.Va at this Mecha Base, I suppose. I hope we get to see more later. I say make the whole Mecha team heroes.
There you go.
Yeah.
Mechas for all.
That's right. Especially me. Here we go. Getting started. Valiant rotating around the side. We'll see who drops onto the point first as it unlocks in about 10 seconds. Teams just kind of trading fire right now, looking for that early pick.
I'm surprised Hangzhou has been trying to play the 3-3 mirror. I really didn't expect them to do that. Maybe they're just trying to feel the Valiant out.
Sure.
And see what their advantages can be in this scenario. But I think Valiant overall has looked just a little bit tighter.
And he sent the Divas down to the point. Absorb a bit of that damage. Now both teams committing a few more people to it. Easy. Got that Zarya shield, which is good. He got stunned. It was dangerous for a moment there, but more dangerous for Fate as Spark claims the first kill in this fight. Bebe just staying safe behind the pillar here as his team cleans things up, and it will be Spark claiming this point first.
Duel over that first point. Fate actually just going to switch to from the Reinhardt to the Reinhardt rather, from the Winston right away.
Right.
So once again in the mix of things on the point, instead of playing that Winston, it seems like Hangzhou is holding together now, so it's less easy for the Valiant to really divide the forces of the Hangzhou Spark by using the Winston on the jump in.
Big ultimate advantage right now for Spark, and they can play this one out slow. They can try to be efficient and oh, wait, all right, Earth Shatter comes through early. That's Kareem laid low, and he's going to take it out fast. Hangzhou does go ahead and use the Transcendence too. But it's like I said, only having to use two ultimates there, and they can keep playing efficiently. Meanwhile, Valiant still trying to build up to their first big ult push here.
Yeah, what are you going to do in that scenario if the Zarya is already on the ground and there's a Reinhardt and the Zarya on top of her? You can't defensive matrix the Zarya damage, and you also don't have enough healing without your ultimates up to actually save the Zarya.
Pretty much. All right, well, Valiant caught up in the Graviton Surge as a self-destruct, and the boop doesn't get a lot of people exposed, but it's enough to kill Izayaki and enough to keep Spark in firm control of that point.
Yeah, nicely done. Playing the bottleneck when you have the Graviton Surge, making sure it's textbook so you get the boop in there as well. The Valiant coming back with a couple of support ultimates. This is where they can really turn things around.
Yeah, now's the time. This is the moment for the Valiant. Use the edge that they've got now. Try to win this next fight. They're going in. They got a lot of damage on Gushue early on. Lucky he got healed up in the end there. Throws out the Earth Shatter to try to delay a little bit. It does slow down Valiant. Nothing to capitalize on, though. Spark pushed all the way back to the point, and now the Graviton Surge comes in from Valiant. Do they have the follow-up here? We'll see. Kareem able to take out Basie, and yeah, Valiant. This is what we were talking about. They used that opportunity to get the point, and they have got a long way to come back to 90% plus for Spark.
But Valiant has the tools, though. They've got the tools. They really only use the Graviton Surge. They kept both of their support ultimates. They're going to be feeling good about this.
I'd say.
Hangzhou got to fight through quite a ways here if they want to take this one.
Again, though, they've got time. It's kind of a mirror of what we saw in the last round here, where now Spark is one where it's like, all right, 90%. Let's just push this in slowly. Doesn't look like Valiant wants to let him. Earthshatter comes in. Sound Barrier, though, providing a lot of extra shields. IDK goes down anyway. And now Valiant pushing right back onto Spark. And they're going to chain that into a team fight win. Using a couple ultimates there, but still coming out with 3 in the end. Ziaki clicking a couple heads on his way out. And Valiant up to about 40%.
It's also, it's just about playing the long game, though, if you're Hangzhou Spark. Sure, you dedicate the Sound Barrier there, but, you know, you pull out the rally, you go ahead and get yourself a Transcendence as well. So, favorable trade over to the Spark, who really only have to win that one fight to win the point, and therefore win the map.
Well, it's that luxury of getting so much percentage on your first hold, right?
You definitely control the pace of the game.
For sure. Spark charging up the stairway here, tried to fake out Valiant a little bit by going left and then going right. Now it's on Valiant to try to defend here. Fate down to about half health. In a lot of trouble. Kareem charged up, though, going to drop the Graviton Surge. Self-destruct coming in. Can he get anyone from Spark? No, not quite. Oh, that worked! Oh! Welcome to your doom, Rhea. Self-destruct for, I'm going to call that the win.
I think you could call it the win.
I think you could call that the win. 98. 99, and map number 1 goes to Spark.
Some of these combos are really a pleasure to watch.
That's right. Explosive, you might say. Well, it was a close affair. Great first map. Hangzhou Spark, though, comes out on top. I think we're still getting lucky here, man. Another great series incoming here. Don't go anywhere, guys. Map 2 coming up right after this.
The Overwatch League is powered by Intel. Game, record, stream without compromise on Intel Core i7. And by Omen by HP, the official PC and display of the Overwatch League.
Welcome back to the Overwatch League, guys. I think we're in for a really good one. That first map was very back and forth, but in the end, it was a Hangzhou Spark able to take it on Busan. But this is one of those ones that you could kind of see go either way.
Yeah, I think that the combo efficiency was just a little bit higher there for Hangzhou. Over the course of that map, Rhea had 9 self-destruct kills to only 1 from space. So you really saw them punch through on the big plays.
Very telling. We did have both divas each eat a Graviton Surge on either side. So definitely some talent going in there. As we look ahead to Numbani, it's going to be our hybrid map. And this is another opportunity for Busan to kind of pull out something a little bit unique. This is one where you don't need to necessarily run the triple tank, triple support all day.
Yeah, I do think that out of most of the hybrid maps, we'll probably see more 3-3 on this map than the other ones in this pool. But you do have options on point A in order to play some other things. I think what's concerning to me is that I assumed that the Valiant were going to be the better 3-3 team coming in, and considering that Spark basically just played 3-3 on that last map and won it, makes me really concerned for how the Valiant are going to do down the stretch in this series.
We'll see. I mean, some of the things that Valiant did that I really liked, though, was some of those engagements. They seem so hyper-focused on getting in there, killing a tank early on, and in a lot of those fights, it didn't seem like Spark could really stop it.
I think Valiant's target selection was better.
It seems that way, yeah. And here we go. Either way, Hangzhou Spark on the defense, Valiant on the offense. Deciding to go for 3-3 again, but Basie on the Spark side, using that Sombra. Also be the Pharah too.
It's a very interesting composition that we have, and it's going to
swap.
The Valiant are going to have to swap.
Thinking about it.
They're going to make some changes.
Okay, yeah.
You're not going to be able to deal with the flanking of the Sombra and the Pharah shooting long-range rockets at you at the same time. That means Kariv is going to play McCree to help handle the Sombra. They've got 2 stuns now in the backline should that Sombra pop up.
Obviously, McCree going to help out a little bit with the Pharah too. He gets a clean shot there. Now Valiant onto the high ground, just trying to muscle their way in there and push Shark back onto the low ground. Basie down early, it's what we were talking about. They chased down that Sombra. Valiant with a good start here on point A. Yushui has to back away a little bit going in on the tender back line now. Agility's taken out, so Godsby striking back for Spark. Somebody's got to deal with that Pharah. Meanwhile, Godsby's like, nope, justice reigns on Kariv. And that's going to be Spark holding some of that, but as I say that, Valiant getting some kills here.
It's still a 4 versus
messy,
3
but,
in favor of the Spark right now, and they have
yeah.
respawn advantage.
You got to go back if you're Valiant. You got some stuff down, but you know, in the end, you just kind of left Spark with a lot of ultimates coming up here pretty fast.
Yeah, you do see Valiant coming out here pretty quickly because you can see all the members are damaged on the side of Hangzhou Spark because they lost the healers.
Yeah, you need to try to carry the momentum from the last fight into this one as fast as you can. Rhea a little bit low, does get D-Mex. He's going to go ahead and use the Transcendence. Izayaki tries to block it with his Trance, rather. Blocks his self-destruct. Meanwhile, Gushui with the Primal Rage is trying to push Valiant off the point here, but he's a little bit on his own. Has to get away from the self-destruct coming in from the green and gold. Meanwhile, Kariv, he gets hacked.
Canceled!
Right out of the Deadeye. That's a problem. Meanwhile, Sound Barrier onto Valiant. Basie coming up big, saving a couple of his teammates, I think, there.
Well, looked cool, but it didn't do much.
Hey, it's all about the style, right? I mean, yeah. Payload's going to get moving here for Valiant, but you made a good play.
Actually, just canceling that Deadeye. Kariv is going to go back and switch right now as we do see the movement back to the 3-3 on the side of the Hangzhou Spark. They will be playing, they switch over to the Reinhardt.
Yeah.
And Fate will do the same.
All right. Crowd getting into it now as Spark tries to regroup a little bit for point B. A tough one to hold on Numbani. Agilities has the rally as far as ultimates go on the side of the Valiant. Wings out. Bang, bang.
Bang, bang.
Bang, bang. Bang, bang. My Izayaki shot Mike Gushui down. Basie down as well. Valiant coming ahead with a pretty big team fight here. They will not be stopped.
That was kind of a throwaway fight. As the Hangzhou Spark, the disadvantage of not running 3-3 early is when you switch to it. You're just going to be coming in pretty cold without a lot of tools in terms of ultimates to use in the next engagement on the cart. So Valiant, much more consistent, considering they'll be able just to roll forward and slowly use their ult bank.
Izayaki using that Transcendence as Valiant tries to counter the fight coming in from Spark at the end of point B here. If you're going to hold it anywhere, you're going to try to hold it here as your Spark. Fate gets that Zarya shield at the very end, but his health is so low. Agility's down already. There goes Fate. Space does catch Bebe with the self-destruct. And Valiant with a couple kills, though, has evened it up against Spark in this fight, but they don't want to try to push it the rest of the way. Again, not a big hurry here, and Godsby sending a couple people off staggered style, so that's going to be a little while that Valiant has to wait for those respawns to re-engage.
Yeah, cart going to start rolling back as well. Hangzhou doing a good job of disengaging on that initial push by the Valiant until they were able to get some of their own ults up. Had to use the rally. It's now going to be fallen off them. And Hangzhou still sitting, though, with a Graviton Surge. However, Valiant, they've got a couple pokes here to get the damage necessary to build up a lot of ults on their side. 5 should be online quickly.
Fate just jumps down on the payload with that Zarya shield. He's pretty safe here as they go ahead. Oh, nice Earth Shatter coming in from Fate. Got some kills off that. Gushui falls fast. There's Rhea getting D-Mech, and they're just gonna run all over Hangzhou Spark. That was just a great Earth Shatter, man. I don't know what happened. Just caught Gushui unaware, I guess. That was an interesting one.
Excellent shatter. And
Yeah.
that's all you have to use. You're coming in the final push with 5 ults. You're feeling great now if you're the Valiant. 3
No
minutes
kidding.
on the clock.
You don't plan on having to dedicate so little to winning a team fight like that, too.
Yeah, Hangzhou not with a lot of tools to deal with this. This beat from IDK is going to have to be perfect to survive the onslaught of the Valiant.
Here we go, Valiant getting aggressive now, going in with the rally. Gushui here out looking for the slam. Gets maybe one, but a lot of that was blocked. Now the stunts coming in, both Reinhardts falling prone as the Zens pop their transcendences. Ults used in parity across both sides here. AZ finally pops that rally, so Spark with the extra armor coming in. Oh, and Fade with another Earth Shatter. Kuki immediately comes in and takes out his counterpart, IDK. That said, though, Valiant having to approach this one kind of carefully. They're getting a lot of members of Spark low, though. Base gets a healing. There's a grab now for Spark. Can they turn this one around? There's the sound barrier now from Kuki. Self-destruct comes in. Doesn't gain a whole lot for Spark. Gushui finally takes out Fate, and maybe with that Reinhardt down, but no. The defense failing for Spark. Valiant, they're gonna take it anyway. That payload's gonna move.
Oh, that was beautifully played by the Valiant. I know that was an extended engagement, but they got both of the support ults out of the Hangzhou Spark so early. That meant that any combo that was coming in was going to be effective. So that patience on the grab made it so they're nearly able to close out this map.
Yeah, look at this, Valiant just kind of giving a bit of ground again to Spark as they come out of spawn. Valiant just playing this so patiently. I love it. Izayaki coming in, he knows he's got the transcendence. They're just gonna run over Basie right away. Gushui down, get the fist from Kareem. And now Izayaki making sure that he stays safe with that transcendence. Rhea nearly about to get D-Mexed here. Doesn't matter, they can't stop him. Valiant, 3 points on Numbani. Solid attack from them.
That was a beautiful close.
Really
That's
was.
exactly what you want to see from a 3-3 team. Outsmarting their opponents, calling the ult economy better. Super nice play from the Valiant.
That's right, quick break, and then we'll be back with Spark's attack attempt. LA Valiant with 120 on the clock after taking 3 points on their Numbani attack, and that was LA Valiant at their most LA Valiant. That is the measured, patient, effective play style that we came to expect from them last season.
Yeah, low risk. You know, seemingly very well coached, very accurate.
Yeah, very clean.
Very clean, so clean.
They would be the Hermione Granger of the Overwatch League if you could make them the Hogwarts students.
Is that right? Is that where you put them?
Very well studied, always to give the proper answer at the proper time.
Who would the Hangzhou Spark be?
That's a good question. They're a bit of a Ron Weasley. Yeah, a little bit unpredictable.
There you go.
You know, a lot of good plays, a lot of questionable things. I'd ship it. I don't know. Here we go. Spark on the attack. Going in with the 3-3 themselves here. Shui on the Winston this time around. It's going to be Winston on both sides. Waiting on the Waiting near the upper hallway.
They're trying to get a flank around with a Winston and a Diva currently, so 4 members are going to collapse on the high ground now.
Going in. Rhea comes up from behind, just try to split Valiant a little bit here, but it's going to be Basie that goes down. Agility's so ready.
Tanks were late.
No kidding, yeah.
Tanks were late on the dive, unfortunately. And this is one of those things where, as we see the cleanup here, Hangzhou having Guxue here maybe causing some of these communication timing issues. You're even slightly off on a pincer maneuver like that, and it could end up very badly. Valiant just reacts by piling into the corridor and blocking that up. Just go ahead and ignore the Diva and the Winston if you can.
So how do you change your tactics as Spark? It looks like they might be going for the same thing again. They're sending both tanks low.
So they're doing it slightly differently now, because Guxue's going underneath and setting up around the opposite side.
Okay, yep, coming up now. Bait's already got that primal rage too. He can keep in that hallway as long as he wants. There's a stun. Gets knocked off the high ground here. Got to deal with Rhea a little bit. Meanwhile, Kareem does take down IDK. Good start for Valiant here. Spade's swinging around. Still doesn't find cause to use that primal rage. Maybe right now gets stunned. Ooh, that was so close, man. He got that ultimate off from like nearly no health. Basie down already. So it looks like Valiant in for another hold here. Goodbye, Guxue.
So,
Did you need that primal there? Maybe.
I mean, I think it's fine.
All right.
But the thing about the 3-3 is that has to be so perfectly executed to even remotely begin to work. Because if you give the Valiant any amount of time whatsoever to rush the corridor, it's just going to fail. And I'm not sure the risk of attempting to execute it perfectly is really worth it. I think this is a better idea.
Yeah, trying to get down there as fast as they can. Oh, but Godsby again. Destroyed by Valiant. Transcendence coming out from Izayaki just to try to give them a little bit more opportunity to finish off Guxue, which they do. Spark has some ultimates. My advice, save them for the next fight. But you're running out of time, man. 1:30 on the clock for Spark. This defense has seemed iron tight for Valiant.
I really like these strategies on Numbani when we were in a dive meta, where you could attack the high ground with multiple characters and try and take out a DPS or a support. But when we're just talking about you trying to, be finicky against the death ball,
Sure.
it's very, very hard.
The supports aren't as easy to kill anymore with this particular meta. Spark gonna try it again anyway. Going in, Guxue popping that primal rage right away, looking to get some knockouts if possible. Agility's taking out first. Godsby with a chance, but Kareem doing a lot of damage here. Maybe caught by the self-destruct. Kareem looking for more targets here on that Zarya. Hangzhou has lost a couple. Basie does go down. Fate with another one there. So Valiant not out of this fight yet. And yeah, Spark decides to back off. IDK tries to hide, but whoa, man, that was very risky. Barely gets out with his life. And now Spark down to 30 seconds. This next attack, and they're only going to have the Graviton and maybe the Transcendence to use. Needs to be successful or they're going to get full hold.
They threw everything they had at that. They tried to burst down the door by using the primal rage. Didn't work. Here's another flank.
Yeah, gonna give another shot. Izayaki right there with the Transcendence. Not gonna be bursting anybody down here. Godsby down to half health already. Graviton Surge comes in. Izayaki getting a little bit low here as Spark responds with their own support ultimates. Now Agility's with that rally. The extra armor might be what they need, but Kareem taking out Spark with an opportunity. 2 ticks already. Here on the payload, Valiant need to respond. They need to stop the Spark from taking this. Guxue, meanwhile, just scattering the Valiant across the entire map. Izayaki knocked out onto the plains, and I think Spark is finally going to get this payload moving. Valiant was so close to getting that full hold, but Spark gets it done in the end.
They still have so much work to do, though, Doa. That delay was all the way into overtime. 2.5 minutes to move through B, and they're competing against a time bank of 1:20 from the Valiant.
I mean, that's the thing, is if it takes you this long to take it's nearly impossible to finish the map as the attacker. Spark is going to need to basically roll through this without being stopped to do it.
Yes, they are, and Guxue is going to stay on the Winston, it would appear, especially considering how close he is to the primal rage yet again. He's been getting those so consistently in the last couple of team fights.
This last one was pretty good. All right, wow, Space first death that map. Certainly been good. And keeping alive on that Diva. Meanwhile, Izayaki down again. Guxue finds him yet again with that primal rage. Gets agility as well. This guy's known for his perfect primals, and he's showing it right here. Hangzhou Spark. Goodbye, Kareem. It's gonna be somebody like in a park in Numbani, like down below, and suddenly Zarya's gonna fall onto their picnic table. Like, what in the? Hate it when that happens.
Wow, let's take a look at that replay again. Kushui coming in here with the Primal Rage, gets 2, knocks him into the corner, gets all of the shots, and then he's just going to bounce Karib slowly off the map. However, Valiant came in, they used the, they changed over to Reinhardt, so they didn't use it.
Huh, all right.
Making a switch here, but this is their stand with 5 ults. Let's see if the Valiant can hold.
That's what you want to do. Yaki getting a big pick on the Bebe right away. Pops that Transcendence as his team moves forward here. Gosby getting a little bit low. They got to try to keep alive. He doesn't have his shield to do so. Ryan's running into each other. And in the Ryan v Ryan, there's still that Zen on the other side doing the damage. And Kushui goes down Hangzhou Spark. Remember, only 40 seconds left for these guys. They really could not afford to be stopped here.
And Hangzhou didn't panic. Once Bebe went down and they saw the Transcendence come out of the Valiant, they said, okay, this isn't our fight. We have time for another engagement. Let's save our ultimates. Let's just regroup and make the big play right now. We'll see if they can do it. Watch out for this Graviton Surge from Godsby.
Yeah, they're gonna try. He cannot let Space eat this one. The future of their attack depends on it. Just waiting for it. Space is ready, you can see. All right. Goes down anyway. They trapped quite a few of them in there. Here comes a self-destruct from Maria. Can he catch anybody? No self-destruct kills on either side, but now Kushui goes in with a pretty decent Earth Shatter to knock down Agilities. They've got that sound barrier. It's gone now, though. They need to finish this fight off, but no, Kushui taken out. Valiant starting to move back in this one, but Gosby still has so much damage coming out of this Zarya. Doesn't seem to matter, though, as Valiant pushes forward on the back of yet another Transcendence of Izayaki. Man, this guy's good at Zen. That's going to be a great hold for LA.
Props to Kuki. Well-timed sound barrier to cancel out the combo, cancel out the advantage that the Hangzhou Spark had. Makes it easy there, look easy, I should say, at the very end. Valiant coming back and looking strong.
And that is it. Take a break, and we'll be back.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by T-Mobile. High ground or low ground, T-Mobile has you covered.
All right, welcome back, everybody. It is halftime, and we are all knotted up 1-1 in this matchup between the LA Valiant and the Hangzhou Spark. The LA Valiant fans, super hyped, as you can see here. Welcome back, guys. Malik here with Uber and Mr. X. Guys, this match very competitive so far. Let's go ahead and jump into the highlights right away, shall we?
Yeah, it's been a little bit closer than I actually expected. I thought that, you know, the Valiant would come out a little flat. They're trying some new stuff with Kuki on support, but they look quite good.
Yeah, look, one of the most competitive matches we've definitely seen so far in this season.
Yes.
The Valiant are holding their own. There was definitely a little bit of a concern about how they've been looking, obviously, without Soon, their star DPS player. Obviously, they're not playing a lot of damage dealer heroes right now, but Karib is really performing on that Zarya role. Izayaki is killing it. Very, very strong.
Yeah.
We knew the Hangzhou would be a force to be reckoned with coming into this match, though.
All right, so first map, Rhea.
Yeah.
Crazy self-destruct, multiple kill self-destructs. Is this guy the new Poco? this season? Tell me.
Well, you see, it's different to the way the Poco used to play, because Poco used to fire them downrange from like 500 meters,
Yeah.
but he just puts them in the perfect spot.
Yeah, he just finds that little pocket.
Different style, but it's just as effective.
Right.
Huge shatter there. I mean, we've seen some crazy, like, obviously these fights go so long with 3 tanks and 3 supports, but we have seen some massive, like, grab and self-destruct combos, and then also a lot of counter shatters, like when, whether you're in a grab and then you shatter towards the end or whatnot, but, and some sick play here.
We saw the Valiant sort of trend towards wanting to play Winston in their 3-3 setup, but when we saw Fate move over towards the Reinhardt, we were reminded again of why he was so well known for that hero, why he was so dominant, really holding his own in the front line against a superstar like Gushwek.
Right. I feel like they're playing this team, this Valiant team that we're seeing this year, might be stronger than the one last year. They're looking very good so far, and they're thriving in this 3-3 comp so far. But guys, it's time to get into our insights, powered by Intel. Mr. X, please take it away.
Yeah, I want to talk a little bit about how the Valiant came out with some Winston on their 3-3 composition. So you can see their setup here. They got space on the low ground, and Fate's right behind them. They're up towards the high ground. What they're trying to do is they're trying to get the Spark to come down to the point. That's where they want them to come and try and engage with this type of composition. So as we roll the footage, you can see they actually get what they want. The Spark dropped down eventually, and this is actually pretty good for the Valiant. You see Bazzi comes in, he gets the bash. They have to burn Zarya bubble on the Brig to keep the Brig alive. So this is actually a really good read from the Valiant. Fate jumps in over the top. He's going to try and use his bubble to prevent some healing, but the Spark just stay so close together that they don't deny any of that. They bump him out of the bubble, they get a Discord on him, and then they burn him pretty quick. It's actually a really good read by the Valiant and Fate specifically to see that some of those cooldowns were down, but it was just really nice counterplay from the Spark to stay grouped together. And then once Fate drops, this is pretty much a fight win for the Spark. You can't lose that main tank early if you're the Valiant.
It's worth noting as well that the bubble from Kariv on towards Fate was a little early. It actually got used when he sort of jumped up in the air, and he didn't have it when he hit the ground. He had to use his own Winston projected barrier, which isn't quite enough when you're surrounded by 4 players.
Right. Well, thank you guys so much for the insight, because honestly, to me, that looked like a mosh pit, and I wouldn't have been able to tell exactly what happened.
All good.
If not, thank you guys very much. Guys, the second half is coming right up, so we'll be back after the break.
They don't just play for a team. They play for every fan, every rival, every moment, every match. And when everyone watching expects the best, they perform with the best.
Welcome back to the Overwatch League. What a match right now, all tied up between Valiant and Spark, and we're seeing 2 very different styles here. Spark, explosive, scrappy; Valiant, measured, efficient, and I think on a map like Numbani, it's very telling how far those different styles are going to get you in this series.
Well, I think this is the time that we really need to see the Spark break out of just playing the 3-3. I think Valiant's going to have them downloaded from this point forward. luckily. Numbani Point A is a map that can have a lot of different strategies. Point B will go back to the 3-3 most likely.
Sure.
But still on that attack, being able to play dive is important. I think a lot of teams are going to be reverting back to some Orisa Junkrat defenses as we see Anubis A progress.
And as you can see, a substitution KSF coming in for Kariv, for the LA Valiant, and on the side of the Spark, Revenge coming in for Bebe. They want revenge.
Now's the time
map.
his name makes sense now.
It didn't make sense yesterday. He came in after they were winning. Now they lost the map. It's time. No Smite subbing in for Gushui.
Yeah, I think that all the roster will now be united by the Korean language. We'll see what No Smite can do as they finish out this series, starting with Temple of Anubis.
Temple of Anubis, our assault map, and as we mentioned earlier, a map that does kind of lend itself to some, in this current meta at least, non-traditional strategies. You're not really bound by that triple tank, triple support here. You can see a lot of Orisa, things like that on the defense once in a while. We'll see what we see.
It's really just a return to old strategies. Like, honestly,
Yeah, pretty much.
Anubis A has not been as affected, I think, by the 3-3, because if you're attacking with a 3-3, there's such a danger that you're just going to be on that exposed point against a Widowmaker and a Junkrat trying to capture it. And if you try and take high ground, then the Widowmaker can just mine over to the other side. You can have the Junkrat can mine over to the other side. The Widowmaker can grapple over. So because of the I suppose mobility possible across high ground on the point, it does make it a little bit more challenging.
Right. That is true. One of those maps where the geography itself has a major effect on the compositions.
But not for the Hangzhou Spark. They are just going to come out with the 3-3 again, with the new roster. Revenge now taking over the Zenyatta, and No Smite on the Reinhardt. And what I will say is that this is a great composition. There's two schools of thought. The school of thought is you just give up point A, and you play this, and you prevent a snowball on point B. Perfectly viable. The other one is you try and hold longer on point A, but then maybe give up point B really fast.
Yeah, and point A and B are really, really close together on this map too. So you can see a lot of snowballs go from like a point A take to immediately B take two. So you have to kind of pick your poison as a defense here on Temple of Anubis. Valiant will be on the attack first here, trying to rotate around through this narrow choke on the left side as the attacker. It's a tough one to get through sometimes.
Yeah, especially when you're trying to run the 3-3. Eventually they're going to break through, but No Smite
trying to charge right in, but have they separated fate for the rest of the team? Gets that shield up, but they have to back away. They did get No Smite a little bit low, but that attempt so far, that poke just kind of gave Valiant a lot of damage.
Yeah, didn't really get much of anywhere there for anybody. Bubble on this tank once again as they go through.
No Smite stunned, but he does have his Earth Shatter. Now they gotta watch out. No Fate down. Not even gonna need to use it. Izuyaki taken out as well. And yeah, No Smite did in fact drop that Earth Shatter. And after getting it so fast, you can see Fate's still just 60% of his. Easy decision to use that tool to win the fight.
It's going to be, I think it's going to be tough. When you're approaching some of these points with 3-3, the defensive team that's controlling the high ground or the choke has an inherent advantage. Double stun as they charge each other. Coming through that choke, stands right back up, gets the angle, and no shield there, no barrier to block the shatter coming through.
Sometimes you gotta assume that that Reinhardt is gonna have his ultimate really, really quickly. We've seen some like 5-second Earth Shatter charges and stuff. It's crazy.
I mean, No Smite's already at 66.
That's right, doesn't take long. Izuyaki pops the Transcendence, as Spark gets really aggressive here. They've got a lot of ultimates to use themselves. Oh, his face eats Godspeed's Graviton Surge. Good start for Valiant here. Now, self-destruct. Nope, nothing out of that one. Graviton Surge for Valiant. Those gonna set up a couple more kills. And now Fate swinging away on the bottom. Gets Bazzi with the charge, and now they can rotate around, trying to play patiently. Godspeed does end up down as well after killing Izuyaki, but it's still advantage Valiant on the point right now.
It looks like he might have gotten himself there with a right click.
I think so, yeah. Probably was really low, and sometimes when Zaryas are really low health, you can finish yourself off once in a while, but that's going to be Valiant finishing off point A in their favor. Hangzhou Spark, a couple ultimates to work with if Godspeed gets his Graviton Surge quickly, but Valiant certainly does a little bit of momentum here.
Yeah, Hangzhou, though, they're holding back. They kept Revenge and IDK back on the point to make sure that they weren't going to get staggered, just capitulating on point A.
Yeah. What do you think is in those crates? I hate it when Amazon leaves packages outside like that.
I think they're valuable Egyptian artifacts that are getting smuggled illegally out.
Get with a rocket, bummer. Well, Space Waiting for that time to use the self-destruct here. Ooh, big Earth Shatters coming down. Fate, though, the mix of actually pulverized taking each other out here. And now Valiant trying to come back in again to finish this one up, and it's going to be tough with the respawns. They're going to need a lot. Oh, this Graviton Surge, and they get a lot out of it. Spark now waiting. No smite there, but you can only delay for so long with that Hammond. They've got Rhea buying some time. It's on the tanks now to try to create a little bit of space for the respawns to get back in, but Valiant already over 2 ticks on point B here, and that's 2 kills. Tanks taken out by Space. Trying to finish this one off here. Nice sound barrier from Kuki to make sure that Spark.
IDK is preventing the capture, though. They just saw him.
That's that annoying Lucio, man. My rank game anger is coming out for a second there. Doesn't matter. Valiant takes point B. That was fast, man. They're going to have a lot of time in the time bank after that.
A very quick capture by the Valiant. Struggled for the first couple of pushes on point A, but smooth as can be snowball on point B.
4:20 in the time bank. Quick break, and we'll come back and see what Spark can do. Oh, it was a one-sided affair on the attack for LA Valiant. 2 points in well over 4 minutes in the time bank to start their Temple of Anubis run. Now it's Hangzhou Spark's turn to try to equalize, but they're going to need to do it quick.
Yeah, and the question is, what strategy do you come in with? They've now spent the last couple of maps consistently getting beaten by the Valiant's 3-3 when they try and play the mirror. So I think it's time now for Hangzhou to attempt something perhaps a little bit different.
Yeah.
And
I think you got to come with something surprising here. You have to kind of take Valiant out of their comfort zone, I think, if you're going to win some maps.
It's hard here because of point B, but if you can get a quick A, then at least you have some more time on B. And Hangzhou, here we go. How do you like quad DPS? Because I'm liking it.
I love it, man. No smite and IDK, the only tank in support here. Revenge on that Soldier 76. We'll see if Valiant is ready. That's where all the damage comes in. They're going to swap it, though. Okay. Oh, sad times. You hate to see it.
You hate to see it.
You hate to see it. I think they're still just saying soon. No, they're not. They're not this time, are they? That's
So the 3-3 will be the decision. I think they had some opportunities there to actually use quad.
I'm kind of surprised they didn't go through with it.
I think it just, they see the Winston there. They're going to make it to change. If they had seen the Reinhardt, it would have been different.
That is true. The Winston does make it a lot tougher to run all those squishy DPS here. Hangzhou Spark coming in aggressive anyway. Godsby does get the first kill on the KSF. So Spark making it work. There goes Agilities. Valiant in a lot of trouble here. And they do manage to demech Rhea, but it is all Hangzhou Spark. So despite the change, they are still going to be dominant in this fight here on A. And Rhea just doing some advanced scouting without the mech. That is a brave Rhea. Diva. Rhea Diva.
It's a brave Rhea Diva.
Rhea Diva right there.
They're coming up, just trying to see if they get the reset. I mean, so either you get the mech right there, or they reset you while your team is taking the point. So that's exactly the right play. Very smart from Rhea.
Yeah, why not? So, Hangzhou trying to go fast. On point B here. Revenge nearly has that transcendence. Godspeed getting very, very close to his Graviton Surge as well. Valiant coming up on a few useful ultimates themselves, but Spark going in, being aggressive. Can they surprise him again? There's a transcendence coming in from the Spark side. Ultimates out for both sides. There's the big Earthshatter coming in from Spark. Actually, no smite. Looked like they had a chance to get a couple kills here, but it's gonna be Valiant instead, answering with one of their own, and Valiant looks like they're not gonna be snowballed here on Anubis. They have to hold for a little while anyway.
Well, Fate got so much more value out of that Earthshatter because they were able to shut down Godspeed before he could throw out the Graviton Surge. Meanwhile, Valiant conserved their own simultaneously.
That's right.
So the really dangerous period for the Valiant has passed now. They've somewhat reached equilibrium when it comes to power level with the Spark.
Yeah, pretty much. Back to square one kind of between these two teams. Spark still ahead in the time bank. If they take it quickly, they can still take the lead on this assault map. Gonna try again. KSF, Graviton at the ready. Try not to get that eaten here. Sound Barrier comes in on the Spark side. There's the Graviton for Valiant. Waiting that one out, waiting the Sound Barrier. They're gonna have to deal with the Transcendence as well. Fate taken out early. IDK finishing it off. Nice ult from space though. Both Reinhardt's down. Maria answering again with a double kill on that self-destruct. He just finds the perfect place to put those, and they're gonna clean up that fight. Can they actually take it faster than Valiant? The respawn's coming in. They're gonna buy some time. Fate low already, gets that Zarya shield to live a little bit longer. He and KSF take the front line, but there goes Kuki. There goes Fate. Spark doing it, and I think they did it. That was a really fast attack.
Both teams with quick attacks, Stoa, very nicely done. And in the end, they're gonna be close. I think it's about 430 right now. Taking a look, 437 to 420.
So a 17-second lead for the Spark in the time bank, and I think we've got another competitive assault map ahead of us here. We've had some assault maps that have really gone the distance this week already, haven't we?
Yeah, we have. And this is what's I think is exciting about assault maps in general, is at the professional level. And we can see a lot of subtlety and a lot of speed through to the end. And it turns out that Spark's idea of being more confident on 3-3 on attack is working out for them. And question is, will anybody deviate? Spark had a more successful A defense this last time.
Yeah, and we saw KSF on the screen there. I think he's got to be beating himself up a little bit. He was the first one to go down in that fight on A after the swap from Spark too. And
killing the Zarya is so huge because that eliminates an enormous amount of damage.
And shields too. It eliminates a lot of safety for your team too if you're not able to kind of keep your other teammates from dying themselves.
Yeah, and with the amount of healing that's going through, if you don't have that damage, you're just never going to put out the amount to actually deal with some of these tanks, unless you get a lucky pick on a support.
Yeah.
But KSF, he came into the league last season, looked like he had some nerves on stage.
A little bit.
But doing pretty decently so far today.
Yeah, it hasn't been bad. Certainly look good on their first attack. Valiant coming in on attack number 2 now. A little bit of aggression coming in from Fate on that Winston. Kuki down early though. Managed to split him off from the team and make him pay for that. Hangzhou Spark being very kind of safe about their attack right now. Fate trying to be annoying, but without that Zarya shield, he has to be so cautious. Holds it for a moment there. But Spark, again, not over chasing. Oh, Fate, he tried to jump and he got caught up in the doorway. He goes down, that's big. They barely kept him alive though, and now he gets out. Man.
Just by the skin of his teeth. And you'll notice the Valiant have switched over to the Winston for this attack. They tried the Reinhardt, but it really they struggled getting through the choke point last time. I appreciate that they're trying to do something different, disrupt the high ground first, just by coming straight on.
You're going to get a lot of charge onto your Zarya by putting shield on there too. Space, meanwhile, does get demeched. On the Valiant side, Spark removing the Diva from the equation at the moment. And meanwhile, Valiant just getting really aggressive. Fate down though, Godspeed takes him out, and I feel like that was a bit of an overreach from Valiant there. I mean, they did lose their Diva mech early on, and they still kind of tried to push that through. And now Hangzhou Spark with a lot of ultimates available to use here, only having to pop that Transcendence in the last fight.
Just the trance used. Rally going to be consumed. Fate now going to take the approach of the Reinhardt. Hangzhou will have plenty of time to adapt to this, so Godspeed should change his positioning right now. Okay, they need to see the Reinhardt. They need to get him around fast so he can start putting damage in the choke. Does get there in time.
Close call, but able to rotate efficiently there. Valiant trying to come through now. They're going to use Izyaki's Transcendence. Could be Sound Barrier in response. As well from Spark. Not letting them through the door just yet. They do need space to retreat. Needed to keep him healed up. So Spark not yielding any ground as of yet. All right, there's a Graviton Surge, trapping them near the door, sending in that self-destruct again. You think it does get kooky. Spark picking up other kills besides, too. That's going to be another solid defense, and it's also going to give Asia time to kind of get back.
You have to be able to drop that sound barrier to survive the self-destruct from the Diva. So when Kuki dies in that engagement, plus there's no real good way if you're in the choke to handle it. You have to turn the shield backwards, but that exposes you to all the AoE coming in from Zarya on the opposite side.
All right, Valiant coming in with a few ultimates of their own now. Space half health, yeah, needs to grab that big health back.
Okay, this is the first time they've tried this approach, going high ground on the opposite side with the Reinhardt.
They had to try something different. Joe too good at holding the door otherwise. Hold the door.
The East, I think the tricky part is, okay, so we have another battle here, but if they need to get on the point.
All right, creating some space with the self-destruct, forces Spark back. They're gonna go in and get the kill on Revenge. Oh, nice Earth Shadow from Fate coming through. Godspeed paying for it as well, gets knocked off the high ground. Doesn't matter though, Valiant cleaning up that fight, and that was just a great move to send out the self-destruct, force Spark to go back and kind of give Valiant the ability to fight on their terms.
Yeah, that's right, especially timing it around the speed boost as well to catch Revenge. They threw Hangzhou Spark for a loop. I'm rarely a fan of self-destruct engages in this metagame, but that was a good one.
You can find those places where it works better than others, right? In that narrow bridge there's not a lot of room to retreat, so you just kind of have to go back, right?
Yeah, or you have to fall down, which means they have priority on the point. So there wasn't a great decision there for Hangzhou. Valiant forced them into a tough position.
If you know exactly where you're pushing your opponent with that self-destruct engage, then it becomes really good. And Spark had to deal with. Now Valiant coming in on the point B here. Godspeed knocked off the edge, coming back in with that Graviton Surge. He's got it now. Valiant needs to be a little bit careful here. They use the rally early on. Now the Graviton Surge comes in. Spark trying to hang with it. There's a couple from space. Another self-destruct comes in, but this time Valiant ready for Rhea's Diva ultimate. And Valiant looking like they're in a great place to pick up 4 on this one.
Yeah, they've really smoothly transitioned from A to B on both of their attacks so far. Lost a lot of time, but we'll see how much Hangzhou can buy. Can they get the clock down to 0 and force the overtime?
That's the idea, right? I mean, 14 seconds remaining, but Valiant, they're not really letting Spark get in there. 10 seconds remaining. Spark buying themselves a little bit of time. I think they are going to be able to push it to overtime at least.
Yeah, overtime is huge. They're going to get it.
Izzyaki down, the spawn still coming in. There's Spazzy taking a lot of time off the clock here. We're in overtime, but KSF with a couple kills. Now no Smite there by himself. IDK on the other side. On the McCree, it's being a little bit annoying here. They swapped to the DPS heroes. IDK just kind of walking through it and dying there. But hey, you know, why not? Graviton Surge just kind of tossed out there. Because you can. When you can, you do. That's going to be Valiant, going up to 4 points in overtime, but they do finish.
They do finish, and now we get another attack here. Exciting one from the Hangzhou Spark that looked so good on point A, but stalled out on point B, the opposite of what we've seen from the Valiant's attacks so far.
Yeah, but now on the Valiant side, all you have to do is just do a little bit better on the defense than you did the first time around. There you go, KSF, I think playing a much more solid round in that one.
And take a look here at space and watch that self-destruct.
This is that great engage that we talked about. Again, just kind of setting it across the bridge here. And again, you know exactly where Spark's going to have to move to.
Yeah, there's a speed boost amp it up, but look how they're boofed back. And watch, where is the Zenyatta here? Revenge actually, I think, makes the mistake because he's moving forward. He can't be positioned like that. He just gets wrecked by the speed boosted members of the Valiant.
He didn't trust that he would be able to get behind No Spite Shield.
So he had to go behind the column.
Had to use the pillar, that's right, to get between him and the self-destruct, but that kind of left him exposed.
Yeah, good move though. They forced a lot of tough decisions there. And they really couldn't drop down because they were getting knocked back by the mech itself.
Right. All right, Valiant on the defense again. Joe Spark looking to attack here. Don't think we're going to see the Roadhog from No Smite. You never know. Maybe they're going to go for it again, but Fate, you know, once more on that Winston. So we'll see if we see some swaps. Yeah, immediately seeing the swaps there. Sent Rhea out to scout here. And hey, they swapped last time and they took point A really fast, so you really can't criticize them.
I mean, they want to play Fate on this Winston, but that means it's going to be harder for them to contest the choke. And if they can't get an effective jump right there to siphon one of the members of Hangzhou off, then they can't defend here either, so they have to play further back.
CID anyway. IDK looking to move a couple members of Valiant off the high ground to kind of reduce the members of the Valiant in the fight here. They are going to push Spark back into the room for now. Spark playing it slow.
It's okay, you can just heal up right now as the poke battle continues.
Yep.
See the Winston waiting there.
All right, Valiant
Jump right back in.
Yeah, Spark finds an opportunity to walk in. Now the tank's engaged here. KSF trying to get to the back line, getting as much damage as he can do with the right click, but it's going to be Fate that falls early. Couldn't stay alive long enough. Now the rest of Valiant, they're desperate, man. They need to go in and try to win this 5v6. But Hangzhou Spark, they've got the Transcendence, they've got the rally. The defensive ultimates may be coming up big, but here comes the ultimate. Right on top of the grab, IDK gets caught by it, but Space pays as well, can't get back in the mech, and that's gonna be Spark winning the fight in the end anyway.
IDK, the noble sacrifice, managed to hit the beat to save his teammates, but that mech may be just a little bit too close to him, so he will fall. However, Hangzhou coming back onto this point will take point A, and now they've got some time now to move on to B, 3.5 minutes. No Smite and Rhea with ults available. And it looks like it'll be a rally and a sound barrier for the LA Valiant to provide that sustain on the point. Hangzhou doesn't have a slam dunk way of capturing this second point unless they hit a massive shatter.
But they've been good at finding the picks and grinding the rest of the fight out, though, and that's what they're going to be trying to do again here. It's going to be a stun coming through, self-destruct from behind, doesn't catch anyone, but it does help get Fate low enough to get that kill for the Spark. Now the sound barrier comes in, but they've already lost their Reinhardt. Spark with the advantage here as they rock in with their own Zenyatta ultimate, pushing Valiant off the point. Valiant trying to regroup, give a little bit of ground, give a little bit of tick on the point before re-engaging. Here it comes now, going back in with their own Transcendence. Spark heading to back away, but they lose Bowsy in the process. No Spike.
Oh, he got agilities.
Charged onto agilities, but in the end, KSF there for the kill, and that's going to be Spark forced back to spawn.
I mean, that's not bad, though, for the Spark. They got two ticks.
2 ticks, yeah. I mean, you're going to be happy with that if you're Spark. I mean, you'll take that every time.
That means you only need a very narrow win. There won't be a possibility to stall out now, and you still have over 2 minutes remaining.
And remember, that was another attack that, like you said, they didn't have a slam dunk way, as you put it, a guaranteed way with ultimates to take the point. So, yeah, 2/3 of it, I'm happy with that if I'm a Spark fan. You know, going in again. All right, well, I think Spark may need to regroup here, but Agility's taken out on the Valiant side, but it's going to be mostly Valiant sending Spark packing. Still 2 minutes for Hangzhou Spark to regroup and make this work, but Valiant giving themselves a bit of breathing room at least.
I'm not really sure that was worth it, Doa. Like, it was a cheeky Graviton Surge. But Hangzhou, they've got the Surge self-destruct combo ready. They're nearly up there with their support ultimates. And there's no support ultimates on the Valiant, so they are highly vulnerable to grab self-destruct right now.
That's the plan. And if we know it, Valiant knows it, they're going to be watching out. Moving in from the side now. Waiting for the moment to speed boost through. IDK very close to the sound barrier. They're going to pop the rally first on the Valiant side. Their Shatter doesn't grab a whole lot. Now the Graviton Surge comes in. There's the self-destruct. How many can they catch with it? How many? Bowsy rather does get caught by Space's self-destruct. Hangzhou Spark popping that sound barrier a little bit late, and that's going to give Valiant at least enough kills to continue to hold.
Ooh, they got the shields in there. It was a dicey situation for the Valiant.
Very close.
But they persevered, and now they've got their support ults up. It becomes much harder for the Spark. That door has slammed shut on a quick take, and now I don't know if the Spark's going to get it at all, Doa.
I mean, 40 seconds remaining, right? They've got like one more chance, but now it's the kind of opposite where Valiant does have the support ultimates on their side to use. So they've got a lot more sustained, and when you combine that with the fast respawning of the defense, it's going to be really tough for Spark.
Super tough right now, and even if they can get it, can they get it without overtime, right? Very strange situation coming in. We'll see if the Spark, they're going to come straight up the gut here on Temple of Anubis.
Yeah, might as well. Last chance here, Valiant on the verge of taking the lead in this series if they can just defend one more time. Getting aggressive here, there goes No Smite. Rhea in behind, but without the Reinhardt, Spark already at a massive disadvantage. Valiant has done it, I think. The sound barrier comes in. Spark needs a miracle to turn this fight around. Are they gonna find it? Rhea nearly D-Mech there, managed to stay in his suit for now. Fate just waiting for an opportunity for that Earth Shatter. Bazi down already, and as the seconds tick by, it's looking more and more like Valiant have this one. There was a grab, eating space, taking out Godspeed's Zarya ultimate as Spark tries to re-engage here. Another sound barrier for Spark. They're still in this fight, but they're still doing it short-handed. It's 5v5 though, as Valiant waits for KSF to rejoin, but there goes No Smite again. Spark once more without their Reinhardt. Here comes the self-destruct for Valiant. Doesn't catching one, but again, it's all about forcing Spark out of the equation for the moment here, and they can't get on the point. That is gonna be Valiant winning map 3.
Very disciplined from the Valiant, the Spark. They're trying to play the Valiant's game, and they are losing, Noah.
Valiant certainly looking like the more solid team so far. All they need to do is win more maps to close it out. We'll see if they can do it right after this.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by Toyota, official North American partner of the Overwatch League. Toyota, let's go places.
Well, the home crowd here in the Blizzard Arena, no doubt pretty happy with the home team as Valiant has taken the lead in this series versus Hangzhou Spark, but we've got one more map to go, perhaps two, if Spark can tie this up.
Yeah, I'm surprised. I thought this map list, Noah, was going to be really favorable to Hangzhou, mixing it up and playing a lot of different compositions, but they've chosen to play it very standard for this meta, and they're not, they're just not quite there with the Valiant. So
I am surprised that they seem to be kind of willing to try to play Valiant's game. I mean, if anybody watched, if any of these guys on this team, which I would think they did, watch the Valiant last season, they know that Valiant is really good at kind of playing things patiently, playing it out efficiently again with those ultimates, and this is the meta that's kind of tailor-made for the way Valiant likes to play. So,
well, it's also like Valiant is like the most quintessential meta team, right? They're gonna go to the meta. They're not going to be super inventive about it, but they are going to show you how to play it. They're going to run that clinic on the meta.
Very true. Kareev subbing in for KSF. I think KSF had a very solid game on Temple of Anubis, but Kareev coming in again. And meanwhile, Bebe in for revenge on the Hangzhou Spark side of things. That's going to be what they try to use.
Yeah, I
win this map.
Let's
just do another one.
I'm not entirely like. I don't know if there's a lot of substantive difference between whether Bebe or Revenge is in for the Hangzhou Spark right now. They look relatively equivalent to one another, so we'll have to see as the season goes on if we can identify some of those differences between when they use Bebe, when they use Revenge, playstyle differences that may occur.
That's right. Well, let's take a moment and take a look at the divas in our last map. And I don't just mean, some of the players themselves. I'm talking about the actual people who played Diva. There you go. Quite a big difference between Space and Rhea. This guy I mean, he's gunning for match MVP, man. I mean, Space has been eating those ultimates, been getting a lot of self-destruct kills. But,
Three deaths.
This is what we, yeah, 3 deaths. This is what we expect from Space. So he's been one of the best flex tanks in the league for a long time.
Now, the question is, what can they do if he doesn't play Diva? And I guess I'm sort of disappointed in this Spark because I feel like they've just let the Valiant be comfortable instead of trying to attack them and expose some level of vulnerability, or the fact that they don't have the ideal lineup for really a wide degree of different compositions, particularly if Space does have to leave the Diva role. So maybe we'll see that on Dorado.
I mean, I said it at the beginning of Anubis that Spark needs to find a way to force Valiant out of their comfort zone if they want to win some maps, and that's still true here on Dorado, and I guess more true than ever if they want to keep themselves alive in this series and avoid going 1-1 here in the opening week.
Yeah, exciting stuff. Hangzhou, they came out of the gate very briefly before switching it back to from quad DPS to 3-3.
It's teasing us, man. It hurts.
They were teasing us, but this is another map where we could potentially see the quad DPS. We are not going to see it.
The keyword potentially there.
On the defense
Probably.
from the Hangzhou Spark, as they have already walked out of spawn. And I do think that it's going to be less common on defense to see some weird compositions because you have such an excellent defensive position with the high ground here for the Zarya. It allows you to dish out a little bit more damage, especially with the Zen as well, get some more ult charge heading into the choke. And then, of course, you have a big choke advantage if you are on the defending team.
Sure enough. Wow. The 5th player this season to record at least 3 ultimates negated in a single match. That's a lot of Graviton Surges in 1 week. Valiant on the attack here, trying to close out this series with a 3-1 victory. Spark wants to get that game 5, but they're going to have a solid defense. They're going to get close to doing that.
Wow, they're really fighting for this corner here. You rarely see teams do this.
Yeah, it's very far forward for a defense, really. Rhea coming down from behind now, going to try to focus on Faith. They boop him towards the team. They get him. That's exactly what the point was. But they do lose Godsby in the process, too. So that payload's still moving forward a little bit here.
Yeah, now that hurts a lot more to lose that Zarya because you have to start over with 0 charge. You have to walk back. Isayaki's killing Bezi there. Like, you can't do much of anything. And Hangzhou, why not just use the high ground advantage and rotate to the choke? Why are you fighting for that corner?
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing, right? Is you see what they were trying to do, right? They tried to separate Fate and pick him off. They did that, but in the process, you give up a little bit too much. Now staying as a death ball coming around the corner here. They at least do have a chance to defend again on A. Buy some more time here. Earthshatter comes in. They do knock Rhea down. A lot else, so agility's taken out. Spark does have a chance here to come back. They're going to use a lot of ultimates to do it. Diva's chasing each other over the roofs like Spider-Man here. They're going to have to fall back now.
Well, yeah, the earlier support ult came from Hangzhou Spark. They had the rally and the healing to persevere through an Earthshatter that did hit their tank line, No Smite, and Rhea.
Yeah.
With that extra healing and that armor, no kill pressure there from the LA Valiant. And now they're going to reset. Valiant, though, only used the Shatter.
Godsby was playing a little far forward, wanted to get that Graviton Surge going in now with the rally. Valiant thinks they have an opportunity here. Oh, but laid low by the Earthshatter here. They're trapped in the Graviton Surge as well. Self-destruct's coming in. No kills on that one, but now it's Space's turn. Can't pick up any for the Valiant either. But the Earthshatter comes in from Fate. He's too low health. He has to back away. Kareem down, but look at that. The payload gets through anyway. The stealth payload push. You always gotta watch out for that.
Well, that's a big loss there for the Sparks. So much committed, and guess who didn't stop the payload at all?
Yeah, they were really into fighting that fight, but you can't forget that the real objective on the map is the payload.
Well, they were also trapped on the opposite side of the Valiant from the payload by the Graviton Surge that came in. Pretty cheeky here. Space there with a mini Diva play.
Yep.
Good job, Space.
He's under there. Yep.
Just waiting for his mech call down. That was cute.
I mean, this is why Space is one of the best, too, man. It's not just about his skilled plays, it's about the sneaky plays, too, right? A brawl on the cart right now as they go into the Earthshatter again from No Smite, but Valiant not fazed by it. They've got all that extra armor from the rally anyway here, so Spark having to pull back a little bit. The payload has halted at least.
And now, just a fight on the low ground. Hangzhou has been fighting at a disadvantageous position on the defense for a while.
Oh, there
There's
we go.
a bad shatter.
I mean, Spark distracted by their own Graviton Surge there, and Fate uses the opportunity to get a big fat shatter. And Valiant's gonna get some real distance on the payload now.
Oh boy, Hangzhou, they are taking all the wrong fights on this map. They were losing the 3-3 heading into this one. They play it again. They consistently play low ground, which is, I just think, a fundamental mistake.
They got that grab, everybody turns towards it, and Fate's like, hey, guess what? Nobody's gonna block the shatter.
All right, so they got high ground now, gonna get a few shots in, but they're still coming back from 0.
Yep. Reeve goes in, that got eaten by Rhea. Another crab eat. In this week Overwatch League, there's been so many of those. Valiant trying to shore things up. Space throws out that self-destruct. It was the sound barrier from Spark, and they do get Izayaki now as Valiant tries to continue to push forward, just pushing Spark back through that door, but they are short-handed doing it. There goes Kareev as well. So Spark with a chance here. That was another nice crew shatter, but I don't know, man. Yeah, Valiant, they're gonna have to regroup here.
All right, they're gonna regroup pretty quickly. 4-3 right now, though, for Hangzhou, and they're picking away at the Valiant tanks.
And that's the thing, man. They still have 3 people on the point, but slowly but surely they're getting overwhelmed by Spark, and now we see the full regroup happening.
Destruct at the end there for Rhea.
Yep.
And now Valiant dumped a lot of ults into that engagement. Couldn't push it quite over the finish line.
Well, Kuki dying really late at the end there, and that's going to mean that Valiant's going to need to wait even longer. Going to buy Spark another 10 seconds or so off the time bank.
Valiant has to make some very interesting decisions right now. Do you engage with this self-destruct? How's that going to go? How much ult charge can we get up on this next push? How much time do we want to commit? Do we try and poke them here for ult charge, or do we try and just force them to use ults by all-inning and then reset on them? Because you've only got a minute left.
Let's see what the choice is. Valiant dropping down onto the payload now. Getting a little bit of movement here. Meanwhile, no smite. Drops. He did get booped off there by Space. It's going to force out the Transcendence from Bebe. And now Space setting in his own self-destruct. Smite gets a shield up in time. Cosby throws in the Graviton Surge from the high ground. 3-point shot coming in on the Valiant, and IDK's gonna dunk him with the right click. Spark with a pretty clean fight there, man. Cosby just got a free Graviton off from the high ground. You usually don't see Zarya throwing it in from that far away.
Yeah, worked perfectly. Godspeed's plan, right?
Pretty much. What can you say? It's divine. Well,
coming into this, they did use the self-destruct, which really did force the Graviton to come out because of how split the Hangzhou Spark ended up being at the end after going to the low ground. And now Valiant gonna come play all around the top here and then drop down onto the card. And this is the fight.
They need to win this one, man. 10 seconds remaining. Hangzhou Spark on the verge of getting a good hold here if they can just hold on for a little bit longer. That's a bigger shatter from Spark. Izayaki there to cover with the Transcendence, though. Now the shatter comes in. IDK knocked down. There goes no smite as well. So Valiant responding with their own Reinhardt ultimate. Maybe does get one onto agilities, but there just aren't enough members of Spark yet to stop this payload. Rhea delaying as long as he can, but there's only so much you can do with that mini diva. At the last moment, in overtime, it looks like Valiant gonna buy themselves a little bit more room to try to push this payload.
Yeah, Fates, though, with the flanking shatter yet again to come out. I mean, they thought that they were going to be able to pull something off there, especially after No Smite laid Kareev low with the Graviton Surge. Sure, you prevented the Graviton, but you didn't have the damage to take him out on the ground.
I don't know. I didn't know Reinhardt was a stealth hero, but apparently when Fate's playing him, he is. Nobody seems to see him. He's a John Cena of Reinhardt players, I guess.
That's a good analogy.
There you go. They don't see him. What can you say? Spark with another defense here coming in. Reeve with the Graviton Surge. They get that sound barrier now. Sound barriers on both sides. A lot of help to burn through. It's going to be Bebe with that Transcendence as Valiant gives a little bit of ground to wait out that Zenyatta ultimate.
Not a lot gained, though. Not a lot gained from coming in with the Zen ultimate. Back to a standoff, but the cart creeps forward slowly.
Another Zen ultimate coming in from Valiant now. As they get aggressive, there's the Graviton Surge. There's the self-destruct from Space. They pick up anything with it. Rhea tries his hand, his own ultimate, manages to find Fate with it. And Hangzhou Spark looks like they're going to hold on for just a bit longer.
Right there, Basie came in and booped Fate into the ult. So the self-destruct kill does go through, courtesy of Rhea's mech. And now 10 seconds. Question is, can they even get back to the payload, or is this where it's ending, Doa?
It's going to be tough, man. 4 seconds remaining. Spark trying to hold the door, but Space gets moved away here. He was just close enough. Fate got there. I think just in time. Maybe Kuki too on that Lucio. Yeah, speed boosting people in. A lot of low health members on Valiant already though, but they're not out of it yet. Fate, another Shatter loaded up. Here comes a Hammond. If they can get the knockup, they can maybe get that Earth Shatter in there too. Agility's doing what he can on the Wrecking Ball. Over the payload. They don't see him. They don't see him. But Spark, they can respond though. Baby didn't get hit by it. He was able to pop the Transcendence. And now Fate is down. Spark having just the right tools at just the right time to stay in this fight.
It's still a brawl though, even though Fate is down. Self-destruct not going to find any targets, and there's a barrier coming in.
Yeah, Kuki trying to save the day here, but another Graviton Surge comes in, and this time Spark grabbing the kills in space. Needs to get the best self-destruct ever. He gets nothing with it, and that's where the payload's gonna stop. For Valiant, they pushed it most of the way through, but just could not finish C in the end.
There you go, Noah. They couldn't get all the way through the map. A respectable push, though. And this is where I want to see Guangzhou doing something different. I really want to see them use those big hero pools on this attack. IDK here at the end. There's the boop. Oh, I miscredit. I thought it was Basie with the boop, but it was actually IDK.
Yeah. Setting him up. Get caught by that self-destruct. IDK. I just boop.
He's quite a character. I think you guys are going to look forward to some interviews with him down the line.
I'd say so. 24 barriers so far too, so pretty good ultimate stats on the Lucio side of things for IDK, and Spark have given themselves a great opportunity here to tie up this series. They don't even need to finish on their attack round. They just need to get the payload about maybe a little bit more than halfway through C, which for most professional teams is certainly possible.
Absolutely it is. And is Hangzhou going to take a risk here? They're going to pause the map.
Oh my.
Oh my, indeed.
All right, well, a little bit of a break. It's okay.
Let's talk about what you can do.
Build.
So if you were here for Overwatch League last season, some of the strategies that you might be accustomed to seeing on Dorado, such as running a lot of Pharah and Widowmaker on attack, are still definitely viable. Because you can attack many angles over the roofs of the houses by just floating the Pharah and the Mercy over there, by using Widowmaker grapple. So you can actually get crossfires onto the choke still like you used to, and given the low mobility of 3-3, especially if they're running Reinhardt, these can be viable strats.
We still once in a while do see the like Zarya Hanzo combos too, which I would be wary of running in this particular situation. So we see so many grabs get eaten, but it's still an opportunity. The point being that here's where Spark does need to get a little bit creative here, I think, if they want to tie up this series. I don't think you want to keep trying to play Valiant's game, you know?
Yeah, and I honestly think that some Orisa and Roadhog combinations are probably still viable here as well, because it's a great way to control the choke point, and you just slow roll into them. Eventually, you know, you can wait for that orb to get through the matrix, and then maybe get a hook in there. You could flank up through the high ground, so a lot of choices you could make. As we get into point C, you know, it's not going to be a lot more diverse in terms of the meta. We are still going to see that 3-3. But at the start, there are things you can do, and it looks like Kariv is going to be playing a Widowmaker on defense. So this is going to be an interesting strategy. This is a really classic last season defense on Dorado.
Got the Junkrat with agilities. Got
Junkrat, Mercy, Widowmaker.
Oh, and Spark, maybe thinking of doing something special themselves. There's the Roadhog.
I thought we might see this at some point, Doa.
Oh, baby.
Oh, baby, on the Roadhog. And so the trouble here for the Valiant is that Orisa Roadhog beats Orisa. You're in for a lot of issues because of the pressure on your shield is much greater due to the huge damage output to barriers from Roadhog. And also because you're trying to play around the halt hook combination, and that becomes difficult because you need to stay in cover. So if they can just yank you out of that cover and hook you immediately, get picked off very fast.
That's the plan. No better way to separate somebody from their team than with a hook from long range, right?
Love the Hanzo in here too. The shield damage with the Storm Arrow and the Roadhog is just absolutely insane. So there's not really a way the Valiant could stand up to this easily if you're just going to try and play a shield versus shield battle.
Yeah. And with people kind of spread out between the Widowmaker and the front line, you know, that gives IDK a lot of room, the Guardian Angel, to fly back and forth with that Mercy and try to stay elusive, stay safe.
I gotta be careful here. As we see Godsby getting pretty low.
Yeah, you still don't want to be in that narrow corridor with all those Junkrat grenades.
Just gonna drop on him. Okay, they are.
Gonna go for it anyway. Reeve flying high, he's behind the team. Trying to get some shots here. See, Fate not pulled out.
Yeah, they used the Mercy ultimate though, so Valkyrie's already down. IDK still in the animation there, it just ended.
Oh, there's the hook. And did they get the DMAC? I think they did, yeah.
Oh, that's so huge.
Yeah.
You can't stop the halt now. Agilities has to do something with this tire.
Yep, needs to be a big one. Going in, no, it gets taken out by Buzzy. It's at that Widowmaker, and now Spark free and clear to try to push forward here.
Oh boy, they're gonna try and revive space. They needed that resurrection to stop the halt coming in and set up another combo, but maybe they're just gonna find Agilities on the backside.
And that's gonna be a lot of your damage gone now. Orisa's shield's not gonna be really DPS through at this point. Maybe another way, there's a Dragon Strike coming through space, healed through it, no smite, really, really low though. Gotta keep him alive, Mercy trying her best. Rhea does take out Fate too, and so slowly, but I think surely, Spark taking point A.
And they are going to take point A. The question is, do they swap here? And yes, Bebe's going to go back and switch immediately. They need more pressure on the high ground. Probably a lot of changes coming through. Orisa, you don't really need it. You don't really need the bongo. It doesn't matter that much. And now's your chance to switch into 3-3 and push through the rest of the map.
Valiant knows that too. Both teams making the swaps they need to make. Both divas get to keep their ultimates, which is one of the nice things about playing diva. You're going to be pretty much around all the time.
Yeah, the extra advantage is that you have a little bit of ult percent on Izuyaki on the Zenyatta.
Yeah, quite a bit actually. I mean, he can easily build up to that Transcendence in one fight. All right, DMAC onto Rhea. Good start for Valiant here as they push forward in this defensive engagement. He's waiting for a chance for that self-destruct. Probably not even gonna need it here.
Good stagger onto Rhea too. Died quite late in that fight.
And that's a delay. I mean, you killed the diva. Now the team has to pull back. Wait for that respawn, and it's going to buy you a little bit more time. So Valiant with a good start on the defense. Now Izuyaki does have that Transcendence. Ooh, they're engaging with the self-destruct, and they catch no smite with it. Wow, another self-destruct engage for Valiant, but it pays off. Kareem not very charged up, but still threatening on that Zarya. They do push Spark back to spawn.
And they will just drop back right now. They haven't had a chance to use much of anything here, Hangzhou Spark. It's been a slow charge because they keep getting picked off on their approach. Valiant attacking them decisively using Fate's Winston.
Yeah. Izuyaki's been able to hold on to this Transcendence for so long too, and it's gonna pay off big time, I think. You can say alive, Fate down though, uh-oh. All right, well, one main tank out of the way. Spark with an opportunity here. Gotta keep pushing. Agility's taken out as well. This fight's starting to go the way of Hangzhou.
Certainly is.
Well, looks like Valiant's gonna just kind of give this one up here. Fate swapping over to the Reinhardt now.
They're gonna need it for the last point. And ultimately, if you're the Los Angeles Valiant, why not just switch now? Even if you do like the high ground control on this point with Winston, which I think is just a little bit better. Because you can react quickly to what's happening down either low or high.
Yeah.
Gives you that extra bit of mobility.
You can still walk up on the bridge too, so.
And it also just doesn't matter if you let them have point B or not. It's much better to have a shatter ready by the time you really have to defend there on C.
Fate perhaps dropped a little bit earlier than expected here. Spark getting really aggressive here. Izuyaki pops that Transcendence right away, expecting a bit more aggression. Now the grab comes in from Spark. Let's see if the self-destruct can do anything. It does catch Kuki. He did provide the sound barrier to his team early on, but now Spark responding with their own Lucy ultimate and getting in there, finishing off the rest of Valiant. And I think that might be point B all wrapped up there for Spark, and that means they are going to have a good amount of time to push this the rest of the way to tie up the series.
Yeah, even worse though for the Valiant, Joe, because of how much they committed to that defense, which categorically failed on them. They reset themselves, and Hangzhou will be coming back with about even ult economy, with only halfway through point C.
I think that was a little bit of a panic Transcendence from Izuyaki. He saw Spark being aggressive and just kind of popped it preemptively, but then Spark says, okay, that's all right. We will not actually follow through with any ultimates we were planning and using. We can just go ahead and finish out the fight.
poke wars here now, as they've changed sides. So the cart can't be pushed while members of the Valiant are on it.
That's the plan anyway. Base with the self-destruct.
Oh my.
Grab comes in. That's a good one for Spark.
He got that
Built
grab
just in
so
time.
fast.
He really did. He really did. And now the payload.
They were not
moving
expecting
ever
that
farther.
grab. They did not know he had grab right there.
He built that insanely
He built
fast.
that insanely fast.
He started that fight with about 60-70% there, but it seemed like he had it just in a second here. And that might be it. Can they even get to it? Can they even get to it? They can't. And Spark is going to tie up this series.
Well, Doa,
Wow.
they thought they could get away with the self-destruct engage, but turns out when you have grab, that mini diva's a juicy target.
I guess so, man. I mean, that's how it works. And what a great series here. We are going to map 5, and we'll be right back with that map right after this. Welcome back to the Overwatch League. Man, we really have gotten some great series today, you and I, and this one is really delivering too. That's right, this week.
I think we really got the cream of the crop series. It's been really fun.
I think so. Yeah. Not to brag a little bit. We got some good matches this week. It's true. This one's going to Game 5.
It is, and I really like what we saw in Dorado. That was what I was hoping this series would be. A lot of compositional swaps. I like that both teams were taking risks there on Dorado A. And I really enjoyed the way that we saw the Hangzhou Spark adapt to what they saw coming on that defense, a really traditional Dorado defense that was very reminiscent of 2018 Overwatch League.
Yeah, interesting to see, but probably something we're going to see still a little bit more of as the year kind of goes on. But
yes,
that last fight with Godsby, he used the grab at the end of point B to close that out, and then the fight was about to start on C, and I'm like, he's already got like 65% built up. Did I forget? Did he actually not use it at B? Like, he built that incredibly quickly.
So what the Valiant, I think, what was going through their comms right there was that they said, oh, Godsby's on our flank. He's coming from the tunnel underneath across the point, and let's just go shoot out the self-destruct. We're just going to kill their Zarya, right? That was the plan. But when you have the grav, you can't move towards Godsby, and
it's difficult.
It is very difficult, and I really don't think they expected him to have the Graviton Surge. There was no defense matrix to eat it. It's unlucky.
That was extremely quick, and the thing is, I mean, if you send out that Diva Bomb, then you don't have the defense matrix. It's tough. Let's look at the Lucios from both teams in that last fight. Check out the stats there. Kuki versus IDK. A lot of knockbacks.
2 deaths
for IDK.
For IDK.
Yeah, that really kind of tells the story, man. 31 limbs to just 13, too. IDK has been putting on a clinic here on the Lucio, and a lot of that's been doing things like bumping Fate in a position where he's going to get hit by the self-destruct, and a lot of kind of fun stuff like that.
I think we haven't really talked about Kuki playing support. You can see he still has a tank icon there next to his name, obviously coming from the Seoul Dynasty. And so sorry if this, for Valiant fans, sort of got lost in the mix of how exciting this game has been. But it seems, at least we haven't seen Custa yet, whom we obviously thought we were going to see starting this season. I'm not sure whether it's that Custa's Lucio play, considering he spent so much time last season playing Mercy, may not be up to Kuki's level. If they like Kuki's shot calling better, these are factors that I'm sure the Valiant will talk about in the future, because this is somewhat of a surprise to many of their fans. But honestly, like, I think Kuki, maybe not this last map, but I think Kuki overall has been pretty good.
Well, you also have to think, too, he's coming again from the tank position, too. So he's got that insight into how tanks will operate, and as a support, that's really important because of how vital it is for supports and tanks to be on the same page with the engages, with the retreats. And so even if he might not be the best Lucio ever right now, having that tank background, I think, is going to serve him really well as the season goes on.
Yeah, I'm excited to see what their plan is, if they're going to end up keeping Kuki at this position, because you have to believe that they didn't sign Kuki from Seoul with this intent, right? This has been a new way they must have discovered to use Kuki. Maybe Kuki on the trade said, hey, I want to try playing support. I think he'd be better at it.
Could be.
Who knows?
Well, it's time to find out who takes this series. Tied up 2-2. We're going to our second control map. We are going to Nepal to decide the winner between LA Valiant and Hangzhou Spark. It's been a great series. I think win or lose, Valiant fans can be pretty happy with the state of their team here, and Spark fans as well. This has definitely been, I think, one of the higher level matches we've seen.
Yeah, it's been really fun to watch, and it looks like we are going to be going to Sanctum here to start things off, which should be, you'd think, cool. A little bit Valiant favored.
Yeah, it certainly gives you the opportunity to capitalize on that strength in the 3-3 composition. Let's go mountain climbing after the show today.
Okay.
I'm inspired. All right.
We'll just
hop on a plane, go to Nepal.
Yeah, quick flight to the Himalayas, why not?
See you guys in a month or two. Hangzhou Spark on board with them as they approach the point. They are going to go with the Orisa here. Godsby on the McCree too, so a little bit something different. And again, it's all about forcing Valiant out of that comfort zone. Let's see if they can do it.
Yeah, it's interesting. Rhea's actually staying on the flank here, so the rest of his team on the point, but Rhea, and you see the Valiant going to be rotating around the outside, and that's going to make sure that they have the long sight lines for their supports and their McCree. So Valiant going to be having a little bit of a trick getting back to the supports.
Yeah, the dive, baby. Having to be careful. There's a nice move from IDK again. Awesome plays on this Lucio. Winston just taking a dive, and even though Izayaki gets that kill, Numbani is still looking pretty good for Spark. IDK looking for another one. He's not done quite yet. Izayaki down now as Godsby picks one up. Gets two on that McCree. And I wonder if Valiant was expecting to face that McCree when they rocked in there.
I'm not sure this Winston using that jump cooldown to come in when you're dealing with the Orisa and the Lucio there is maybe the best idea. He got dumped straight into the pit, but they didn't have any choice because Hangzhou played that rotation so well, moving their supports and their McCree to the bridge and forcing a very rough situation.
Yeah.
Valiant's now split, and they're attempting a pincer on the point. Their supports are coming around to try and harass.
Jumping in again. Gonna give it a try on Valiant. Fate diving in yet again. Agility's popping that rally. They have just kind of muscled their way onto the point. Spark nearly giving it up now. Here comes the self-destruct. It's gonna force Valiant into the room with the Spark, and Kuki will meet the flail of Bazi. Meanwhile, Transcendence now from Izayaki. That's gonna help Agilities pick up a couple. Sound Barrier comes in, but with already two people down, is it too late for Spark? I think they may have overcommitted there with that ultimate.
And no more supercharger there either, courtesy of Agilities, and it's all clean up now from the LA Valiant. That was really well executed. The Valiant, they decided to do something unorthodox, which is split up their composition 3-3. The three supports went around one side and chased the members of the Hangzhou Spark onto the point and into that little room. That's when they collapsed all at once. They got the 6v6 they were wanted, so excellent read and adaptation by the Valiant.
Right, that clean play, we've got to enjoy all day from them. 55% gained by Spark. Now it's Valiant's turn to try to defend Godsby. Pops a Deadeye, walking forward. He's like, all right, I'm trying to find a couple. Can't find any though in the end. Doesn't matter, Valiant taking up pretty much everybody on Spark anyway. Fate does fall, but he'll have time to get back to the point again. It's gonna be Godspeed just resetting. Izayaki actually gets him with a headshot as he goes over the cliff there. And Hangzhou having to give up a bit more time. Looks like Valiant is going to be at least able to tie up the percentages here.
I'm surprised Hangzhou's sticking with this. Like, they're gonna have to fight for this choke point, and I'm not sure this is a good composition to do that with.
Yeah, it's really tough to advance with an Orisa and a McCree. No Smite getting stunned immediately. Now Space sends in the self-destruct. Nobody caught by that, but No Smite, he's already down. I mean, that's the thing. You can't really be super aggressive with this Orisa. And they're showing it. I think it is time for Spark to make some changes. They know it too.
It's too late, Doa. I mean, they needed to switch to 3-3 as soon as they got knocked off that first point. That was when the change should have occurred. Instead, now they're going to try and fight with 75% on the board for Valiant.
I am really surprised that they did that, because it's not like they had any ultimates that they would be tempted to use or anything like that. They just believed in the composition a bit too much, I guess. Self-destruct thrown in there. Valiant separate a little bit. They do have Fate cornered. He's going to go at Primal Rage to try to stay alive. And also the Graviton Surge helping keep Spark locked in place. Now Sound Barrier comes in for Valiant. They did kind of double up on the Zenyatta Lucio ultimates, but Kuki does find the poop on IDK as well. So in the end, it is a Valiant team fight win. And at 98%, I think that's going to be about it. Overtime barely forced by Rhea, but nobody else there to get onto the point. They can't do it with the Winston. That's going to be first point taken by Valiant.
And this looks a lot like some of the maps that they played, the Hangzhou Spark played against the Shanghai Dragons, Doa, because they were really reluctant sometimes to switch off compositions that were quite clearly failing.
Yeah.
And even though that comp, I think, is good, and the way they played that first point control was excellent, you're just never going to get through that choke point against the 3-3 again. You'd have to get so lucky. Valiant would have to make so many mistakes in order for that to happen. So you just got to go back to 3-3. And instead, it just comes about 2 fights too late.
Yep. So on board with Izayaki here as that cleanup continues.
Pretty impressive debut, I would say.
You can see through walls with that Discord orb, man. He knew exactly when he was popping out. Some good timing from Izayaki. I'm really glad we're getting to see this guy play, because we heard so much about him at the end of the last season. Didn't get to see him, but now today, I think he's really been showing us he's something special for the Valiant.
Ooh, unlucky for the Spark, too. I think that they would have preferred Shrine, but they're going to get Village instead.
That's a good
point.
point.
That means they're going to do a late swap over to the 3-3. And now they have to go through a choke point that's being spammed by the Valiant because they came out of the gates faster with their composition.
Yeah, gonna try to
this is
roll
bad
around
for
the right
Spark.
side here. See if they can get in, but Fate just jumps down right in the middle of them. Spark a little bit separated. Got Bazzi off to the side here, but they do manage to demech space early. Somehow they just kind of walked through Valiant. Got on the point, they're gonna take it first. A little bit of miscommunication maybe on the Valiant side to engage that possible one. Izayaki down early, and yeah, it's Valiant, the team that's looking scattered now.
Well, Space was on the low ground to start that one off, while the rest of the Valiant were still on the high ground, attempting the drop down. When you have the Winston, you can't play heads up, like just mash into each other as well as a team with the Reinhardt can.
Yeah.
They tried to drop down, but Space was already caught off guard and unawares thanks to the speed boost around the side from the Hangzhou Spark, and the rest of the Valiant just being just a tad bit late.
Valiant trying it again. They have made the swap over to Reinhardt now for Fate. Going for a little bit more front line durability here. It is going to be Bazzi popping that rally. Godsby all charged up, and he's got the Graviton Surge here. Has to avoid that self-destruct. Waiting for the Defense Matrix cooldown to go, and he did. Waited for Space to not have that one. Here's the self-destruct again, and that's a big 4K for Rhea. Space just decides to respawn himself, and that was just some great awareness of the Defense Matrix cooldown on the side of Spark.
Gotta hand it to the Spark. They do know how to make some flashy combos there.
Sure do.
Take a look, just right around the corner with that one. See them charging through. Where does the shield go? Couldn't quite see what happened to the Reinhardt shield there, but got disabled, whether it was broken or moved aside.
Yep. Either way, the shield wasn't there when they were trying to use it. Now, Valiant back out there, really, really fast fight, or Fate rather, drops the Earth Shatter. Bazzi gets taken out, and Valiant striking back almost faster than we can react, man. Looks like they're just gonna take the point finally and get their own percent building.
Yeah, but this is a mad fight for the Hangzhou Spark. They're one fight away from winning.
Yeah.
They didn't have to commit anything to that engagement besides the sound barrier. Valiant dropping a couple of ultimates just to make sure that they could flip it and stay competitive in this match. So Hangzhou got the leisurely approach right now, trying to get a little bit of charge there.
When you win a fight as decisively as Spark does, you gotta be aware that the other team might just come charging in immediately afterwards. That's exactly what the Valiant did, and Spark got caught just a bit unawares.
What?
That's aggressive. Whoa, I don't know about that, Spark. They're trying for it, but man, Valiant just picking them apart like nothing.
Well, that was really bad from the Spark, because what they did was they used both of their bubbles to give Godspeed charge, and then they were waiting for bubble cooldown, so they spent, 5-10 seconds sitting there, and then they walked up and Smite. No Smite didn't get a bubble. It was really odd.
Well, live and learn, as they say, but Spark needing to find some way to take the point back at this point. They do have a couple ultimates to use here. Earthshatter dropped down, got an IDK. Finished him off pretty easily. Now it's a 5v6 in favor of Valiant. Oh, but another big Earthshatter coming down right as Valiant come around the corner. Luckily for them, Kuki was able to give them the sound barrier. Yaki pops out Transcendence too. Now the grab comes in on the Valiant side. No Smite, no life. Fate getting a little bit low as well. IDK finishes off Kareev, and looks like Spark are going to be able to perhaps close this one out and force us to the third point here. They got to avoid that self-destruct. Jildy's doing what he can. Space on the point on his own, but he's the only one.
And there's the overtime. They're not going to get back, Doa.
We are tied up on Nepal.
Oh boy, I was concerned about the Spark there because they all in, but they were the one with the charged up Zarya, so they knew they had the damage to drop the grab and end it right there. Didn't want to give Valiant another fight.
You wonder too if Valiant got a little bit too trigger happy with the Earthshatter at the end there. That one I think came out a little bit early. They weren't able to quite chain that into the win they needed.
I mean, they did get IDK, but IDK was the only one who was hit by the Shatter. But I think the commitment to the all-in to kill him chipped them a lot when it came to damage.
They killed IDK, and then they backed off and tried to come around into the point the other way, and they just didn't expect No Smite to be right there with his own Shatter.
It was a good Shatter.
It was, yeah.
It's a good Shatter.
The mind games are real, and it was No Smite on top with that one.
Valiant, I think you're right, though. They did play themselves a little bit there.
Yep, so that means one more round to decide the match. 5 maps have come down to this on Shrine.
I can't believe Spark's running a 3-3 on Shrine. I can't believe it, Doa.
I'm prepared to not be surprised by anything anymore. It's only day 3, right? But it's fine. IDK goes in, tries to separate teams with the boop. Godspeed, though, taken out. Kuki with a headshot early on. There goes No Smite. So a good start for Valiant. IDK trying his best, but there's only so much Lucio can do. And it looks like Valiant's going to get their control percent building a little bit quicker.
Yeah, I think Valiant just going ahead and running the Reinhardt immediately was the play right here. I understand why they're concerned, because if there's a lot of high mobility DPS heroes that come in, your Reinhardt could be a sitting duck. But Kuki here is rolling right through, gets another kill. Melee straight into No Smite's face.
Lucio melees the Reinhardt to death. It's a good day for Lucio. Joe trying to come down from the high ground now. All right, another really early Earthshatter thrown in there by Fate.
Doesn't do anything.
Yeah, I mean, he's kind of just going for it pretty optimistically. Maybe too optimistically there. Yaki helping his team engage now with the Transcendence. They're going to need a bit more, though. Bebe able to match with his own, and that is No Smite once again, rocking Valiant's world with that Earthshatter. I mean, in the Battle of Reinhardt's over the last 2 points now, it has been No Smite winning it every time.
Yeah, it's been interesting to see how No Smite is playing the Reinhardt, because he really just waits for those opportunities. They're not using it as an engage tool, they're using it as a counter-engage tool.
It's a great reactionary Reinhardt play.
Yeah, Hangzhou also uses Transcendence much more aggressively than most teams do. They just want to get in there and mix it up with you.
That said, though, I feel like Valiant has been using it first in a lot of fights, too, which generally gives you the disadvantage. They do have the big bomb combo on the side of Spark. The grab plus the self-destruct. Oh, but it's hard to use if space eats your grab. Advantage Valiant. Let's see if they can follow up. Sound barrier used to counter the grab here from Valiant. Rhea does get the kill onto Fate, and now Valiant going in with their own sound barrier here. Bazi down. Kareev with a lot of damage coming out of this Zarya, and it looks like Valiant are going to be able to flip the point back again.
Oh, nicely done. That was Hangzhou's only real win condition there because of the number of ultimates they had used in that last engagement. They had to make that work, and as soon as space denies it, gives Valiant an upper edge in the team fight, and they get that control percent building once more.
Well, 60% for Valiant. They're sitting on the point. Spark, a chance to come back and capitalize it. It's been a close round so far. Rhea and Bebe with the ultimates on the Spark side now. The engage once again with the self-destruct. Both sides using it right now. Transcendence is coming in again from both sides. Once again, ult parity. And now the kills are going to start happening. There goes Fate. That's right. They isolated him. The Zarya shields ran out. Kari falling to, and Spark striking right back again. And so at around 85-86%, it looks like Spark is going to reclaim the point. This is about as close as it gets.
Oh man, it is on a razor's edge here. Next fight might well determine the victor of this map, as Hangzhou will pass that 50% mark.
Might be right.
This grab from Kariv and the grab from Godsby are going to be very consequential. Neither team with big support ultimates to sustain through the Graviton and the damage that will follow.
Yep, that's true. Getting aggressive are the Valiant yet again. And that is another huge no-smite Earthshatter. He's 3 for 3, man, on this map so far.
Oh
Valiant just
my.
walking right into it time after time. And at 80% now for Spark, Valiant need to absolutely speed their way back to the point to have a chance. It's Sonic the Hedgehog time, man. They gotta go fast.
They gotta go so fast, Joe, and they gotta go through a grab. I mean, they can get ripped off this point on their approach just by a Graviton. They may not be able to touch it. They got 5%.
94, 95 for Spark. The defense, Godsby needs a great grab here. He's gonna throw it into the pillar, keeping him out. It does force OT though. Another grab coming in from Valiant as well. Space goes down, Rhea caught him with the self-destruct after he was out of his mech. Sound barrier for Valiant as they try to win. Another one! Are you kidding? No smite! Earthshatter after Earthshatter, and he is gonna shatter Valiant's hopes in this match. That's Spark going 2-0 in week 1.
That last point was a hell of a Ryan carry, Doa. Those Earth Shatters were massive difference makers for the Spark.
Yeah. No smite, no like, more like no chance for Valiant. What can you say?
That was thrilling.
No kidding. Well, I think Spark has pretty safely delivered us some of the most exciting matches we've seen so far in week 1. And again, it's like I said, if you're a Valiant fan, I think you should still be pretty happy with how your team performed today. They look really solid. A lot of that stuff looked really tight, and it was honestly only by the slimmest of margins, kind of this god-tier breakout performance on the last map by No Smite that really delivered Spark that win.
Wow.
How about that? I love the Overwatch League. I'm so glad we're back.
I'm so glad it's back too. That was such a fantastic match between two elite teams in this league. Now you can see right now, Hangzhou Spark starting off their season with a 2-0 record. For an expansion team, you can't ask for much more.
No kidding, man. I think, like you said, like as one of the new teams in the Overwatch League, this is how you want to begin things. You want to get that 2-0. You beat Shanghai Dragons 2.0, and then you come in and you beat the hometown heroes, one of the 2 LA teams. You take down Valiant. What a start, man.
And I think, you know, what's extra impressive is Valiant and Dragons can both be top 8 teams in this league. They have a lot of talent on these rosters.
Agree completely. Let's take a look at some of the highlights from that match, and what a match it was. Got a Temple of Anubis here. Izayaki, of course. You know, you talk about players to watch on each of these teams. Izayaki, a player we heard about, finally got to see him today. That's a player I'm going to be watching a lot more later in the year. KSF also having, I think, a pretty good map on Anubis as well.
Yeah, I'm glad to see KSF adapting to the stage a little bit better.
Yeah.
Trying to shed some of those nerves from his debut. Certainly helped the Valiant on the, get a map win on Anubis there. So credit to him.
This was really a battle of the divas, I think, more than anything, in that you had so many Graviton surges getting eaten. You had so many people dying to self-destruct. You can't deny the Lucios were a big part of it as well, too. IDK getting those boops, man, whether it's booping people in to the self-destructs, whether it's taking them off the map completely. IDK really delivered.
I just really like the styles of diva play that we saw, because if we look at Rhea, he's the one going for the flashy big bombs, the combo plays. But so many times we saw Space intelligently zoning with his ultimate, siphoning somebody off from the fight, pushing the payload like this. Like, I love Space creative self-destruct plays. They're not as earth-shattering, let's say. Like, they're not gonna blow your mind and give you something super to cheer about, but they're just so tricky and so smart.
Yeah. I mean, as far as earth-shattering goes, I think No Smite kind of takes the award there on Nepal. I'm sure we're going to see some of those replays. It was Valiant able to take that first point, but it was all Hangzhou after that. Oh. So, man, Rhea had some great self-destructs. There were so many big plays in that one. It's impossible to even remember them all at this point.
The shatters were absolutely crazy from No Smite on Shrine. I mean, what do you say? Like, I'm surprised. I was bagging on Hangzhou saying, like, why are you playing Valiant's game? Well, they beat Valiant at their game.
But they beat them in a different way. You know, they played the same composition, but stylistically, they kind of made it their own, you know?
Yeah, super fun.
Yeah, well, let's take a look at our player of the match. It is, drum roll, it is. It's going to be Rhea, our Omen by HP player of the match. On that diva, of course, like we talked about, getting the big plays with the self-destruct, eating lots of Graviton Surge, as you can see right there. Not only did he get a 3K, he also ate the grab. That is the total package diva right there.
That's the dream play.
I was gonna say, you cannot get a better diva play than eating a grab and then killing a bunch of people with self-destruct. That's the dream right there.
I love this grab that they had.
Oh,
you
yeah.
know, played it super well around the corner. Coming in here, I still can't tell why that Rhine shield went down, but you know what? It doesn't matter. 4K.
Yep, that's right. Wow,
18 self-destruct kills. Okay.
what a series that was. And we're not done yet. It's going to be Vancouver taking on the Shanghai Dragons. Shanghai 2.0 versus yet another new team, the Vancouver Titans, finally taking the stage, made up of that great core from Team Runaway from Korea. That is going to be an awesome match to watch. But that's going to do it for us today. Man, we got some good ones.
We did get some good ones. I was really excited to cast that last match, but I'm really excited to see, maybe we'll see Gamsu in the next match.
Possible.
Are we going to actually come in and see Runaway take this league by storm, considering that they were such a solid 3-3 team when they played in Contenders Korea?
Yeah, well, I can't wait to see it either way, guys. Do not go anywhere. Plenty more Overwatch League action coming at you very, very soon.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by T-Mobile. High ground or low ground, T-Mobile has you covered.